Awesome. I think we're good on those too. All right, cool. So we've started streaming. So welcome back.
Is this the part where I turn it on and act like I'm happy to be here?
I mean, you can do that if you want to.
Oh, I love the thumbnail. That's adorable. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Aww.
Number 2. Yeah. All right. There are people in the chat now. Hello, everybody.
What up?
So I know there's like nothing on the screen right now, but what we're doing is we're coming back for the that second. This is the Apple video with Dev and myself.
Because we promised.
We promised. We did promise. So
we did promise.
We did. So we're on Watch Together right now, and we're going to, he's going to go through my first video, my I Hate Apple video, which I remember being pretty cringy.
Really? Wait, so you don't, already you don't stand by it? Like,
well,
there was something that you didn't like with it, or?
I went back and watched it and was like, ooh, information bias here, but the second one's not. I'm fine with watching the first one, because the first one's going to, like, it's going to make me seem like I'm wrong for the first half of this thing. And then at the very end, when you see the second video, we're going to flip it and you're going to realize you're the wrong-o and I'm the right-o, and it's going to be perfect.
Okay. All right. I can work with that.
All right, cool.
Let's see.
Let's see.
I just remembered why we... Oh my god, Barry, we're idiots.
What?
I remembered why we did Discord screen share last time.
Why?
And it's because we would, like, go out into another tab and then just, like, pop open Apple's website and like take a look.
Yeah.
And then,
do you want to just do that? Do you want to just do that?
Mine won't work.
Your screen share?
Don't make me go into it. You're gonna start me off on a bad foot if you make me tell you why I can't do that.
Okay.
So the last time I was the one that hosted it because I was one that wanted to go like and do new tabs and like pull up Apple's website and shit like that.
Right.
So it turns out Discord on Mac, while it can screen share, it can't do audio. It doesn't stream audio. Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, I could restart back into Windows and like do it that way.
No, that's okay. I've got them both right here. So I'll just do this. And we will get this thing started. Just gotta turn the camera on. Is that my camera? No, not that. Not that. No, not that either. Share. All right, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then if you need a pause, you just let me know, man.
I'll just scream pause, and then you'll fucking click your left mouse button. How about that?
Yeah. I'll just.
All right.
All right, here we go.
See, I like how you're comfortable showing your screen, unlike me.
Oh, I don't care.
Uh-huh.
Let me know if you can hear it.
I cannot.
Shoot.
Welcome to the well put together live stream.
I know, we should have thought about that before. One sec. I made you like crazy loud just now. All right. How do I make it so that you can hear it? Was there like a special button you had to push or something?
In Discord, yeah.
What's the special?
You'd like to turn on click the turn on screen share button right there.
Okay.
And then go to change windows.
All right.
And you should be able to turn on. Wait, what the fuck? Why don't you have it?
I don't have it.
Go to application window. There you go. And then you have to click on Chrome.
Oh. Where is it? Oh, there it is. I hate Apple YouTube. Share that. Okay.
And now I should be able to hear it. Try it.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear it now.
Okay, good.
Turn it up a little bit.
Good.
Up a little bit, but yeah.
A little bit? All right.
Yeah.
Well, the only way I can
Discord, that same button.
Through Discord?
Yeah, that same button that we were on.
Okay. So
and they're also saying I'm too quiet. So
shoot.
What the fuck did you say, bitch?
I said shoot.
No, my watch went off.
Oh. Okay.
I didn't even know she was alive.
Okay. There we go. And then I can actually turn that down a little bit. Okay. Go ahead and speak, Dev.
Hi. Can you all hear me now, or is
Hopefully.
Barry trying to like minimize my opinion?
Yeah, I just like can talk over you at my own will, so it's just easy.
Yeah. I'm part of like the volume ducking.
Yeah.
God.
All right. So, hello
Okay,
everybody
yeah, they're saying good.
who first started, and let's jump on into this.
Okay.
Apple. I do. There's
I
lying,
do.
misleading,
I
lying,
do.
scummy company that has the best marketing I've ever seen in my entire life, and I commend them for that. But I hate them. Well, why do I hate them? What makes Apple so bad? They seem to have pretty decent products, and that's the thing. At least one of them. They have decent products, and in the end, that's all they are. Mediocre, decent, okay.
They can't hear the video.
Sell these products for a
You can't or they can't?
They can't. And I'm having trouble too.
Wait, really?
Welcome to the good live stream.
Oh man, I might need to have to like. Oh man, I thought this was gonna be easier.
Do you want me to go into Windows and just do it?
Yeah.
God damn it.
That might be easier.
Look at this is part of the plan. He doesn't want me on an Apple platform, so I can't Hold on, I'll be back.
All right. We'll see. We were using Watch together, but that just it didn't work very well. And for some reason, I can't turn the volume up in Discord, or I'm not seeing that for some reason. If I go here, I got dashboard and the JIT Infinity. Did the live stream go offline? No, it's fine. So yeah, I'll just chat with you guys for a sec. Sorry about this. This is like, what headset I get? The human eye can store 500 gigabytes. You like apples. Awesome. Oh man. Barry is dumb. All you had to do was click it and there was a volume slider. See, and I thought of that, but for some reason that wasn't... Okay, so if I do click... I mean, I'm clicking it and nothing's... I don't know. It's weird. Like, I'm right-clicking and everything, and there's nothing going on, so... I don't know. We'll just have to have Dev do it. I could, like... Nah, I'm not gonna do that. We'll just wait. It won't take Dev long. Very nice, Zachary. I did right-click it. I did this, like, multiple times, man. I'm telling you. Right-click there. Go to application window. Right-click there. Nothing happens. Have you tried turning it off and on? Jeez. Yeah. Sorry about this stream. We'll be back on track in a sec, but jeez. Hover over where you're at. I'll show the volume button. Please share. It'll show him. I mean, at this point, we're already... Yeah. I mean, I've tried everything. And at this point, he's already booting into Windows. We'll have this fixed in a sec. I am gonna just load up some Isaac then, while this is going on, because there's nothing else going on, and you guys are probably bored. But if you guys want, go ahead and let me know what's chat around. Bottom right, Barry. Your volume's only half. I know, but like my I have a headset on and it's loud. Use Rabbit. I'm probably late to this, but why hasn't Dev uploaded in over a year? Right? Use Rabbit. It works well. Dev doesn't like Rabbit. That was the thing. So we're just gonna do this. Oh, there we go. Yeah. What headset do you want to get? What are you thinking? I recommend the HyperX Cloud 2. That's a really good one. That one that I reviewed a little bit ago, that Sennheiser P370, I think? That one's really good too.
Hello.
Yay, Dev's back.
What
All right.
up? Okay, how many people did we lose watching your desktop the entire time?
I actually started playing The Binding of Isaac.
Welcome to the Binding of Isaac stream.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
So
Let me
here's-
get this set up.
Here's a link, so that it's just easy. And then I'll do the link to the I Hate Apple Reloaded.
Uh
So
huh.
then that'll be easy as well.
Okay. And then they can still hear me, okay, right?
They should be able to. You can hear Dev.
I don't know why my computer is so slow right now. This is ridiculous.
Is it
Windows, yes.
Windows? Did you try turning it off and back on?
Barry.
There.
You think I just left Discord and came back?
No, that was the joke. I was messing around.
Everything is so laggy. Okay.
Weird.
Okay, alright. Let's see. Also, I should probably do this. Hold on. I got one more thing to do. There we go.
All right. Awesome.
Okay. The first one.
Yes. Yes. What did I miss? You've missed literally nothing.
Yep. You've
missed-
missed
Absolutely nothing. I thought I was set up and good to go. We had a plan. We had the watch together up and everything, but no, that didn't.
Didn't really work out, did it?
No. That's actually someone in the chat was like, just use watch together. We're like, that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. Tell me if you can see that when it loads up.
I can see that.
Okay. Why do I hear it playing? I'm not playing it. Do you hear that?
You may have Hate Apple Reloaded.
Oh,
playing.
it started playing in the Discord. Okay.
Oh, really?
Why are we so bad at this?
I have no
Okay,
idea.
we
dude.
were fine the first time. Oh my god. Okay, tell me if you can hear this.
No,
What?
I cannot.
Do you have Discord set to the right thing?
I mean, what should I have to change? I can hear you.
I don't know. I can't even turn off screen share now. Oh my
Wow.
god, I can't turn off. I can't turn off screen share. This is a nightmare. This is my nightmare come true. What the fuck? The Barford is gone. What?
I can't even believe this is happening right now.
Why is this?
Oh my god.
It's gone. Okay, hold on.
Wow.
Okay. What? The fuck is happening? Imagine your screen share getting stuck. Oh, I think I know why though. Hold up.
I wonder. Oh.
There's that. And then, aha. Okay, now.
I still don't hear it.
Barry,
Yeah.
the volume was all the way down. Now it's up.
What's up?
Th-
Your volume? I did everybody.
I.
We thought we had this set up. We thought we had a plan.
This is so fucking bad. This is awful. If you're watching, leave.
Here we are.
Oh,
You
God.
shouldn't have to put up with such mediocre content.
I know, right? God, it's just watch these guys not know how to do things. That's
We
what's
did
happening.
it right the first time. Normally it's the other way around. Normally we're supposed to be better at this. Why?
Yeah, I know. We've been doing this for years and we just cannot figure it out all of a sudden.
God.
All right.
Guess we just won't make any points then.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what's
Okay.
sad? You know what sucks about Watch Together too?
Huh.
Is if we want to pause it, we have to click the play pause button at the very bottom.
Well, yeah.
But if you click the screen, it just continues.
Oh.
So,
Mine stops it automatically. All right, put the
really?
videos in.
all right, putting the videos in. Jesus, where are the videos? Found them.
Hate Apple. I do.
I pay for Nitro. I'm lit. God, I sound entitled. Holy shit. It's probably like
I pay for Nitro. I'm very upset. Oh man. All right. Is everybody ready? Are we good to go?
I try playing it and see if I can hear that. I hate Apple.
All right. Ugh, Jesus Christ. I have to.
I hate Apple.
I can hear it.
They're slime
Okay.
leading lying,
Make sure they
scummy
can,
company
'cause that was the
has
problem
best
earlier.
Marketing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Hopefully they can.
And I commend them
Find
for
out.
that.
If they can't, then I'm leaving.
Well, why do I hate them? What makes Apple so bad?
They can.
They seem to have pretty decent products, and that's the thing. At least one of them. They have decent products, and in the end, that's all they are. Mediocre, decent, okay, but they sell these products for a
Freeze. That paused, right?
Freeze.
What do you mean mediocre, decent, okay? It's not the same word. So,
I never said it was the same word.
also, I love the inflection that you had in your older videos. It was just like, I don't want to parody it because you already said that it's like, what's funny is the reason I'm okay pointing it out is because I did the same thing. Like I did a lot of the early videos that I did was just like, I am not reading a script. Cookies help us deliver our like it was just God, I just relate to it. That's all. Also, they're saying if you can turn it up any more, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that.
Okay.
I need to go out of full screen to do it, but yes, if that's the only problem we have, I can fix that one. All right, cool. It's gonna be loud for me, but that's actually no, I'm dumb. I can just turn my volume down.
Yeah. Hello?
Hi.
Okay. All right. So let's find out if this is better.
And the people who buy them automatically disregard specs and research because they must have the best technology out there. They spend $3,000 on it. It has to be the best. But that's not how it works. And I really despise that Apple promotes this. I like being around people who like to think, like to use their heads to solve problems, or just contemplate things openly with me. And I
So
like
here's the
people who
thing.
look at
Here's the
them.
thing. Actually,
Here it comes.
Seems every time I talk
Go
to
ahead,
someone
pause it.
who's
Can
in
you
love
pause
with
it because,
Apple and
like,
their products,
okay. So like when
Do I not know how to think, Barry? Is
Hang
that
on,
what
no.
you're telling me? Why are you sticking around me? I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Here's the thing, like I'm realizing the tactics I used back then, right? To like portray my thoughts, my ideas. I put the opposite side, at least when it comes to Apple, because I hate them so much. I put the opposite side down, right? Like, feel bad for not thinking about the thing you bought. Feel bad about that, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I can totally see, like, where there are going to be flaws when it comes to, especially this one. This one's going to be the fun video to tear into. But, was there, like, did you just click the screen to make it play, or did you, like, click a button or something? How did you make that happen? Because for
The
me,
play button?
I don't have that when I'm in full screen, though.
Oh. So you had to go out of full screen to pause it?
Yeah.
God, fuck, watch together.
I know.
I would just leave it out of full screen then. I just zoom mine in real tight.
All right. There we go. That makes it easy then. Oh.
Neat.
Nobody saw the watch together link, right? Dude, get out of here. What is this? No, it's just ugly if I do it that way.
We are like a minute into
Just you press play. Just you press play.
Okay, fine. Shit.
It'll make it
I
easy.
feel as though I'm talking with a console fanboy.
What?
Hang on, like I said.
Fine.
Fanboys are practically the same. But why are there so many for Apple? This company freely shows its specs. They openly tell everyone what's inside their computers and phones. And then they lie to people and tell them that it's new age technology when it's like 7-year-old hardware. That in itself is fine, and on this aspect, I look down on the consumers. Apple knows that its consumers won't do any research. They're the kinds of people who just take promises from faceless corporations. And yeah, that's a healthy lifestyle choice, by the way. I've talked about the fanboys a long
Look
while
at me
ago,
like
so I'm not
super
gonna
look
delve
down
much
on people.
into this. But to anyone out there who loves Apple as a company, I gotta ask, what did it for you? I had an iPhone for 2 years and I just felt limited. I felt as though they thought I was a child giving me a phone so weak and selling it for so much, and I just don't see the appeal to that. And it's the phones they sell most of all. I mean, if you buy their computers, I don't know how to save you, but they're phones.
Oh.
Yes, they're computers, and yeah, they're user-friendly, but they're
I'm
weak.
such a prick,
I
dude.
just realized is the character in this is in GTA supposed to be you?
Huh?
Is that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it look like? Does it look like me?
Kinda.
Yeah.
It's just like this, because like compared to everybody else, and this is probably something only I can say. Like I've actually met you in real life.
Yeah.
So like, and I know other people have seen like videos of you, but it's just like the most uncanny valley kind of representation of you I've ever seen. Okay. So I want to know, before like we end up going into like arguments we actually agree on, do you stand by a lot of like what was in this video as far as like the 7-year-old hardware
Well,
and
okay. No, I mean, as far as the hardware goes, it's not even that outdated. I think I was exaggerating in the video, but like it didn't come off like exaggeration at all. So I'm not even sure because it's been so long. So there's just a
Right.
lot of the way that I spoke within this video, and there's a lot of the way, a lot of the research that I did on this video didn't come out very well. You got to remember that I was working at Walmart, and that's why I reloaded this video, because I was like, look, if I have feelings about Apple, they need to be fair, right?
Sure.
And this one didn't feel fair, but it's still fun to pick at.
Okay, I want to make sure, because I don't want to sit there and like attack something and like essentially like make fun of you if you've already like
Dude,
changed your mind.
No,
on
no,
it, you
make,
know what I
make,
mean?
make fun of me. I don't care. This
Oh,
was
are you?
my old videos. Go for it. Dude.
Welcome to the roast of Barry. Here we go.
Slow down really fast over time, and they're made of really cheap material, but for some reason, Apple makes a ton of money off those worthless little things. Now, if you like their phones, that's fine. They are made easy to use, and most people don't like complicated, and that's understandable. They just want
See, we talked about this in the last video, though, or the last stream that we did about like cheap materials and everything like that, when objectively they were using more expensive materials like glass and aluminum versus virtually everybody else back then.
Right.
So I'll keep my worthless toy, thank you.
Yeah.
to buy a phone to have a phone, and probably play some little App Store games, and I can respect that. It's Apple's computers that really bother me. As a guy who builds
Okay,
computers,
here
I
we
know
go.
the worth of these machines, and I can see
Are you?
What?
Ah, there's people in here.
Oh, really?
five
Barry, you
Ah,
fucked up.
I showed the URL. Damn it. Stop. I gotta make a new
I was
one.
wondering. I'm like, what point is he gonna make off of that?
I gotta make a new one.
Holy shit.
$700.
Okay.
Profit.
I gotta make a new one.
But
And,
selling
Okay.
I'm just gonna exit out of this one. Jeez, dude.
Why don't you change OBS to just show like the player?
Here we are.
Ah! God, I hate that video pops up. Here we are. Stupid thing, man. All right, so you joined.
Here
That's
we
it.
are. Just
Here
did it
we
to me.
are. No. You do not get to show the URL. Okay, good. No URL. I'm gonna instantly just go back to YouTube and type in Bullet Berry Apple. There we go. I hate Apple.
hate Apple. I do. There's
I hate
Why there
it.
still be a way to see what?
Right, they can just still get in.
is?
Right? God.
I hate
Okay, so
Apple.
we
I
do need to.
They're a slimy, misleading, lying, scummy
Okay,
company.
so it was about like right here.
There are only a few things that a Mac-based
Right.
computer can do that a Windows-based computer can't.
Is this where we
But
were?
there are thousands of things that a Windows-based
something like
computer
that.
can do
Oh,
that a
let's go
Mac
back a
can't.
little bit.
Back a
like,
little.
Worth $500. So I'm not going to delve much into cheap material, but for some reason, Apple makes a ton of
Okay,
money
yeah,
off those
that's
good.
worthless
That's
little things. Now, if
All
you
right.
like their phones,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine.
here
They are
we
made
go.
easy
Uh-huh.
to use, and most people don't like complicated, and that's
Aw.
understandable. They just want to buy
Thanks,
a phone to
Thomas.
have a phone, and probably play some little App Store games, and I can respect that. It's Apple's computers that really bother me. As a guy who builds computers, I know the worth of these machines, and I can see someone selling a $500 PC for $600 or maybe $700 as a profit. But selling a computer that isn't even worth $500 for $3,000, are you nuts? Especially when you're limited on what you can do. First of all, gaming is almost a no-go. There's a short list of games that you can actually play in the grand scheme of gaming, but then again, who cares? You didn't buy it for gaming. You bought it for work or school, right? That's justified, right? Well, not really. When it comes down to it, there are only a few things that a Mac-based computer can do that a Windows-based computer can't. But there are thousands of things that a Windows-based computer can do that a Mac can't. For example, if my computer ever has an issue, an error code normally jumps up, or at least an error log, or a message pops up so I can solve the issue myself. However, when a Mac has an issue, it generates an error code based on the time and date. It doesn't tell you how to fix it. It doesn't tell you what to look up. And unless you really know what you're doing, you're gonna have to take that puppy in and get it fixed. Because of its
Take that puppy in, buddy.
Where did you get that time and date thing from?
I was actually there when my girlfriend's Mac encountered an error, and it just gave her a time and date, like a log, and that was all it gave her. And when I asked her, and you know what's funny about that is, like, I probably should have researched that a bit more, because for a long time that's how I thought they worked, and that's what she told me. Because I asked her, when you have a problem on your Mac, do you fix it? And she's like, well, no, I just send it in. And I was like, what is this information here? And she's like, it doesn't do anything. And I just took that. I was like, okay, well, nice. And I never looked that up. I just threw it in this video.
Okay. Because I kind of get it, but I think both platforms kind of operate pretty similarly. Like running a Hackintosh, I've had a shit ton of problems, obviously. And it's pretty much the same way. Like, you can Google certain errors and like find ways to fix it. And there are ways to like change certain things to make them run better. So I think that's kind of like a moot point. I think that's pretty even now.
Yeah,
so I thought that was weird when I watched
this.
this one, because this was the one that I was allowed to watch, and I heard that. I'm like, where did he get that? As far as like bringing it into like the Apple Store to get it fixed and everything like that, I think that's kind of consumer choice. I think the cool thing about that is that you can, like, outside of Geek Squad, there's not really a lot of places that you could take a PC to get like help if something were crashing like that. You know what I mean? Also, that's a really weird thing that you just said in chat. And if you think I wasn't watching, you're dumb.
Someone asked, what do you watch on, or who do you watch on YouTube, Barry? And I said, I watch Dev sleep cams.
God. Okay. No, but like, no, for real. I think like the Apple Store is like a very unique thing that you could take in a one of their devices for any problem. Even if let's say like Photoshop is crashing, they'll try their best to help you and like get it back set up. Whereas like Geek Squad's like, oh yeah, you got a virus. Let's sell you Kaspersky for $60 and see if that fixes it. If it doesn't, go fuck yourself, kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
Geek Squad kind of sucks, like, a lot.
Yeah, and that sucks even more, because that's kind of like your only option outside of calling like HP support, and even then they're just like,
well,
sorry, is it like, how does this affect me again?
Most of the time you don't have to worry about it, because like I was saying in this video, the error code that pops up, you just Google that, and then you just got your answer on what to do anyway. Sure,
but like, again, if I'm using a Mac, I know to do the same thing. I think when we're talking about people that are taking their computers into shops like the Apple Store, we're talking about people that don't know, and these people exist. I deal with them on a daily basis. People that don't know to Google errors and like would rather just have somebody else do that for them. And I'm not trying to make judgments on like your girlfriend at the time or anything like that.
She was awful. She was the worst.
Okay, I could have used a lot more choice word in that case, but she didn't. I'm guessing she wasn't the type of person to like Google those kind of issues, and would have preferred to like have someone like do it for her. You know what I mean? And that, at least that's an option, I would say, with the Mac.
Okay.
Not trying to go full fucking try hard just yet. We'll wait until Reloaded for that.
Yeah.
But I just like that it's a decent option.
Closed architecture, the Mac operating system has been child-proofed, meaning you don't get many options to fix it. I won't go into too many of these, but here's just a short list of some of the things that a Windows PC
this is where it gets bad.
That a Mac PC can't. Macs don't let you cut a file and paste it to another folder. Macs don't tell you what operating...
They do, but it's a pain in the ass. And that's something that stayed true for a way too long, actually. I think that's something that got fixed in APFS, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not on it that I could try.
System you have. Macs don't play video games.
What?
Wait, what? What did I say? I didn't even hear
Macs
that.
don't tell you what operating system they have.
Did I say that?
Yes. We're going back, boys. Here we go.
games. And here's the thing. All this would be totally fine. All
That's
this
not
wouldn't
back.
be such
That's
a big deal,
forward.
and nobody would have
You just spoke over it. No, that is back. Hold up.
That wasn't back. No, that was
options to fix it. I won't go into too many of these, but here's just a short list of some of the things that a Windows PC can do that a Mac PC can't. Macs don't let you cut a file and paste it to another folder. Macs don't tell you what operating system you have.
Do you want to explain that?
weird. Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
When I heard that, I was like, what are you fucking talking? I'm typing WinVer into terminal and it's not bringing anything up. This thing's broken. Okay, let's keep going. Hold on.
Macs don't play video games, and here's the thing.
I mean,
Kinda.
they do, but like,
Kinda.
Yeah.
And it's surprising how many AAA games actually did come out for Mac. Some of them I was fucking surprised. Fucking Modern Warfare 2 has a Mac port. Did you know that? I found that out in my Steam library the other day. I had no fucking clue that it came out, but apparently it did. Your point's right. Not a lot of games are out on Mac, but a lot of the important ones, if you could call it that, are. And I think you and I would agree on that. I mean, am I wrong?
what would you mean by important ones, like AAA's or?
League of Legends, Rocket League,
The
CSGO,
ones that everyone
TF2. I think is Overwatch on Mac. I am probably wrong.
The
Maybe
ones
it's
that,
not.
yeah, the ones that everyone plays. I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're
When you think of PC gaming, those games are on Mac. But here's the thing. Again, you have the option to run Boot Camp and then play them there. What I'm fucking hoping for, like what I'm waiting for, is for someone to make a Mac fork of Proton. Because I'm super excited for Proton. I don't know
is
if you've
that
been
the-
looking into that at all.
Is that the Linux where you can like play
Yeah.
games on Linux? Yeah.
Yeah, where they're
I've heard
using like
that.
VX, what is it called? The VKDX, DXVK, whatever the Vulkan API is for DirectX. Like, I'm super psyched for that because they're getting like ridiculous performance out of that. But next point.
All this would be totally fine. All this wouldn't be such a big deal, and nobody would have a reason to complain about it if Apple didn't ask so much for this product. This product that offers very little in comparison to other computers on the market that are much cheaper. Now I'm going to say some good things and some bad things about Apple. Regarding their Mac computers, their computers are very slim. Yes, they sacrifice some USBs and other ports and a CD drive, but to cram that hardware into such a small space is not an easy task. Though I have noticed some heat issues, but I won't mark them down too badly, being as how most laptops have heating issues. Also, I want to say their
Bad
Unix
effect.
system and their operating system is very well made. It's a lot harder for Macs to get viruses, and this is mostly because of that childproof thing I was talking about earlier. You are limited on what you can do, so it is harder, but Macs running a Unix system definitely makes it harder to get a virus. And as for their operating system, it's really nice. To be honest, if these buttons weren't facing the wrong way, I would probably have a Hackintosh, which if you really like Macs,
That's your one fucking issue with it?
I'm like, hey, you know what I did? I went over to my friend's house and I saw those buttons were backwards. I'm like, I'm making a goddamn video on this.
If these Cupertino dumb fucks knew which side to put the fucking buttons on, maybe I would use their trash operating system. God. Barry, have you had a Mac? I don't think I've ever asked you. Have you had a Mac?
No, I never had, but like I said, my girlfriend did. I played on hers all the time. I used hers all the time. I had it for like, how long were her and I dating? Like 2 months. So,
If Mac doesn't have any games, how did you play on it?
well, I mean, I was on it. I didn't
Look,
play.
man,
I didn't
RuneScape
play.
runs on everything.
I didn't play any games on it, to be honest. I bought her a game for it, and it didn't play on it, and I got a little pissed because I spent money, and I was broke at the time.
What did you buy? Did you make sure it was for Mac?
No, it was my fault. It was my fault.
You bought a Windows game?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man! But I was
Okay,
like,
sorry.
come on, it won't even play it. She's like, no. I was like, ugh, my laptop plays it. Blah, 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 blah. So
Want to trade?
really recommend building a PC and using the Mac OS for it. As for their phones, I really
Yes,
don't like them.
actually, freeze,
They're
hold
weak.
up.
They're made of
Pause. Yeah. That's exactly what I do. I got a lot of shit in the gaming laptop video for like starting on a Mac desktop. That was a Hackintosh. The thing that I was on earlier was a Hackintosh.
Hackintoshes are cool though.
I completely agree with what you said in this video. I think OS 10 is a fucking phenomenal OS. It's just, if you're heavy into games, like if all that you really do is game, maybe it's not for you. But otherwise, as far as like stability goes and as far as just how elegant it looks, I'll take it over Windows any fucking day. Part of the reason why it took me so long to get back into Discord is because I had to process updates, something that I think OS 10 handles way better. And that's just like, I don't know if you could call that personal opinion or objective, but I think it's a running meme at this point how bad Windows updates can get.
Oh, it is. Oh my god, no, I already know that. That is like totally.
Yeah. I mean, it could lead us into a huge conversation about Mac OS versus Windows, but I think for everyday productivity and just like general web browsing, it's hard to beat.
Yeah. And I would say I would need more time. If I was going to do that, if you wanted to have an argument or a conversation about that, I would need to go into using the Mac OS, Windows OS, and then Linux just to kind of get an idea on all three platforms. Because I've only dabbled in Linux and the Mac. I didn't use them, So,
and see, I've kind of done the same with Linux, but I feel like it's harder to argue Linux, and that might piss a lot of people off, but I think we're still quite a bit away from this hypothetical like year of the Linux desktop, only in terms of it's not shipping on things, and getting people to adopt something that they have to install is really hard. And you still cannot, for the most part, you cannot use Linux without dabbling into terminal, and that's a real big turnoff for a lot of people. Again, yeah. I'm extremely excited for Proton, and I could probably use a lot of stuff I could probably be using Linux right now. But until Adobe ports their suite over and you're not running it under Wine, until a lot of people start using Vulkan instead of DirectX, it's going to be a while. Probably going to be a little bit. Yeah.
Cheap material, and they're simple. But if you're looking for simple and easy to use, that's totally fine. I would suggest buying an older iPhone to save some money, but the unfortunate part is that Apple slows down their old phones to make their new ones seem much faster. But I can't blame Apple for that
specifically.
Did we talk
about this?
Because
that was wrong information at that time.
And lastly is the way they sell their accessories. Apple tries really
actually,
hard
if you
to
pause
make
it real
sure...
quick, I didn't know. Actually, nobody knew what Apple was doing at that time this video was released. There was only speculation, and the speculation was that Apple, like other companies, were slowing their old phones down so that their new one looked better to people. Like, oh, my phone's slow, I'm going to get a new one kind of thing. That's all anyone had really to go off of. And then Apple didn't really say much until 2017.
Yeah, just last year.
So, yeah. So, like, this was in 2015. I had no idea.
Yeah, so we agreed last stream that, yes, hey, this is more than likely just because of the lithium
and it was
degradation.
A very good thing that Apple did. I am very behind that idea.
Okay, I can get with that. And then you were about to say something about accessories, so
that if you need a charger, new headphones, a mouse, or keyboard, you have to buy it from them. They really want your money, and they don't hide it at all. People joke a lot about them coming out with new chargers all the time, and it's not like it's a conundrum. When it comes to other platforms, a lot of chargers are universal. Of course HTC or LG or Samsung or Nokia could make their own chargers, but they share one because they want it to be convenient to the consumer. They don't want it to be a hassle trying to find a charger, and every time someone at my work needs a charger, all they have to do is ask. Problem is, when someone asks for an iPhone charger, they have to let them know that it's an iPhone. And then they have to tell them which version of iPhone because it changed. Then you're for some reason looked down upon if you have an iPhone older than the 5, because nobody has that charger anymore, and screw you for having an iPhone that long. But it doesn't matter in the long run, right? Apple got their...
Comments?
Sure, go for it.
No, I'm asking you if you've changed that.
What's the... Okay, actually, yeah. So... Hang on, well, because it's not unfair. Like, at the time, the only thing that was around was Universal, right? For Android? Was Universal cables?
Was micro USB for the most... How old
micro,
is this video?
Micro USB. 2015.
Okay. Yeah, for the most part, micro USB.
So it was like micro USB. That was it. And it was cool. Like, everyone got the same cable. Whenever people needed cable switching at work, I was like, here's a micro USB. Everyone had one. But then when people had Apple phones, they're like, do you have a charger? Yes, I have an Apple charger. Well, mine's mine's that iPhone 5. I don't have that charger. And it's like, well, no one else does either, so that sucks. And I that was just something I threw in, you know?
Yeah. But that's changed now.
It has
It's
changed.
almost as if the tables have turned, right?
Yes.
Because I don't think that you can go into a workplace with your Razer phone and ask for a charger because most of the people there are probably still using micro USB.
Right.
But you've moved on to USB-C.
Yep.
As far as, and you know what really sucks? I really like the Lightning connector. It just feels good plugging it in. I know that sounds, I'm not going to say that word, but it sounds really stupid to like say that. I understand USB-C is a shit ton better in terms of bandwidth and especially its Thunderbolt capabilities. Don't get me wrong. But the Lightning connector is far superior, stays in a lot better. I don't know if it's rated for more plugs. I just like it. I wish that like USB-C or Thunderbolt 3 was compatible with Lightning.
Wait,
For
stays in a lot better. What do you mean by that?
it feels like it has a tighter grip on it whenever I plug some device in. Like there's a really satisfying like snap when you plug it in. I know that sounds stupid. I understand that's really stupid.
Okay, so I just plugged my USB-C into my phone, and I've never thought about it before. I'm gonna need to plug in a iPhone and like find out if there is a difference, because
Yeah.
that does sound very strange to me.
Yeah, because like I get that it's reversible. They're both reversible now. Great, thank you.
I know.
But that's a dumb point. Okay. Anyways, but no. The main point is like the tables have turned. USB-C is kind of going through the same growing pains that Lightning is.
Right.
I think it's really weird that Apple didn't go to USB-C on the iPhone XS, considering everything else that they sell besides iPads. Like their entire Mac lineup is basically all USB-C now. I think it's even more disappointing that the box still includes the USB-A to Lightning instead of USB-C to Lightning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. God, the only other thing I could add is that if we end up changing from Lightning to USB-C, I think the problem is other companies, when you said that other companies were just using micro USB because it was convenient for consumers, I don't think that's entirely the case. I think that was part of it, but I think that none of the other companies were really big enough that they could make a proprietary connector. You know what I mean? Like if Samsung made their own...
Yeah.
I know they used to, but I don't think there was anything else better at the time that they could have switched to besides micro USB.
But then if that's the case, a lot of them are huge now, right? And they're all doing the same. They're just at USB-C. If they could make their own, I mean...
But it's cheaper. It's cheaper and it's more compatible with each other for sure. I just don't think any of them was in a position to do what Apple did.
All right.
I mean, you're making me feel bad.
No. I'm just like I don't fully see like exactly where you're coming from there, because like
Apple switched their entire ecosystem to Lightning, and they got away with it because they're large enough to, I guess.
Right.
Whereas
okay, so what you're saying is other companies didn't do it because they weren't big enough and didn't have the funds at the time.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's why it even took so long for a lot of these companies to get to USB-C. And that's still something that everybody else is using, and you're still going through the growing pains of that.
Right. I mean,
but I will agree for sure that I wish that the iPhones and iPads started using USB-C. I think it's obnoxious that we haven't, even though I like the other connector more, but still.
Money from us, so we should be happy. Are you starting to understand why I dislike them so much? To be honest here, Apple is really smart. They've been in this game for a long time, and they know what to say to take money from us. They know that if they make something and label it the best product ever, people will buy it, and it cracks me up. I really enjoy going to the online Apple store and looking up their new products.
Yeah, me too.
I honestly get a good laugh out of it because I know someone saw it and bought it. Seriously, let's take a look super quick. Look at this slogan that they have for the new MacBook.
I know what's coming.
Light years ahead. This is genius. It's almost so misleading, but they put the period right there. The MacBook very well could be super light, but years ahead of what? Your MacBook from a few years ago? Definitely not going to be years ahead of anything right now, but let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's take a look at this MacBook.
Okay. Do you want to say anything about the tagline?
About light years ahead?
Yeah, because you're making such a big
I
point
mean,
out.
it's silly, isn't it? I mean, look at it.
But it's good that you're right. It is genius. They do this with all their shit.
Yeah, no.
Because it's not wrong.
okay, it's not okay, but wait. They can mislead so easily with this, and I still like will be.
What, you think someone's gonna think they actually meant light years ahead? Like, I don't know how that's misleading.
Dude, because it's a marketing. Look at it. You just look at it and you think light years ahead, right? But
that's not even an actual measurement that you would use for computers, Barry. Come on.
And I know that. It's just like, it's silly to me. It's just silly. And it's things that I've heard people argue as to why they would buy a MacBook. And I'm like, oh.
You have not been in an argument where somebody pointed out this marketing.
His name was Mike Giorgetti, and I'm not kidding.
This is a flashback. This is a fucking war flashback for you. Holy shit. So you mean to tell me this kid actually, you were talking about MacBooks with him, and he said, the MacBook is light years ahead.
He's like,
and he wasn't being ironic.
He's like, dude, if you look at the slogans on the iPad, it says, a computer, period, unlike any computer, period. And I'm like, that's what, dude, that did not sell you. And he's like, yeah, that's why I bought. I was like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Okay, that's a problem with the consumer. I'm sorry.
And don't get me wrong. That's what I'm saying here. That's what I was trying to say in the video was people fall for this. They think they use this right here, light years ahead, and they're like, that's a
huge jab at a general consumer base. I don't think that people fall for it like that. I I know you've got experiences with people that have, or with a person that has,
right?
But I don't think that's representative of most of the people browsing this website.
The fact is, people like that exist, and they could stumble upon a video where I talk about how silly that is. And they'll be able to go, oh, you know what? Maybe I should have looked at the specs. Because up next is where I'm talking about the specs compared to a computer.
Okay.
Okay, so it's super thin and boasts a 10-hour battery. That's pretty impressive. Ooh, a 1440 display at 16:10 aspect ratio. That's nice, that's nice. But what kind of power does this magnificent machine have, huh? 1.3 gigahertz. 1.3 gigahertz. Now, for those of you who don't know, most cell phones will run faster than that. My phone has two processors in it, one running at 1.88 gigahertz and one running at 1.44. Both of those are faster than this computer's processor. My phone was $200 at full price. I got it on a plan, so it was cheaper. But what about this PC? It says right here, starting at $1,299. Well, some might say, well, your phone's a phone. This Mac can do more than your phone. And yeah, that's true. So let's see what I can build on PC Part Picker at a similar speed of this MacBook.
Okay.
How much do you guys think it's going to cost? $503. Now, this is a quick build that I made, and I figured I would have similar specs. But in all honesty, this one is actually superior to the Mac. And I'll explain how. So the processor is an AMD quad-core running at 1.3 gigahertz. The motherboard is a cheap MSI. The RAM is similar spec, 8GB DDR3 at 1866. I grabbed an SSD with
at 1866.
Storage,
Barry? Come on, man. You know more than that.
Feel free to pause this whenever. I don't want to be the only one pausing it.
No. Well, the thing is, I've seen it so many times. Like I
know, but I want you making points too.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The MacBook has a really decent NZXT case, a 430-watt power supply. And since Apple has some sort of super retina display, I decided to be really generous and give you a 4K monitor, and a regular mouse and keyboard. Now this build is almost the exact same. Some of the parts are even superior to the Mac, and I could give you a CD drive, which the MacBook doesn't even have. So $500 for $1,299. Do you understand why this is ridiculous?
I said I could give you a CD drive.
I heard it!
One more thing I have to show you. These slogans crack me up, and I must.
Okay, so pause the video here. I wanna.
You pause it. You have the control too,
dude. But like, when I pause it, oh, did it? Oh.
No, I did that.
Oh, yeah, because when I click play or pause, it like doesn't do it. So I want to know what you think about the spec wise. I put the same specs from the laptop, and there was a lot of people in the comments who were like, "You can't do that. It's a laptop. There's differences.
Yeah,
versatility."
you really can't.
Okay. And that's fine. You can still look up on the interweb, and you can find the same specs in a laptop, like a regular whatever, not even gaming thing, the screen won't be as good. I did notice that they like just use standard screens. But what did you think about that? Price per component. I found that very interesting. And it seemed a lot of people didn't like that very much.
Screenshot right here. This moved it back for you too, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's assume this is an awful comparison. You can't compare desktop parts to laptop parts, period. It's an entirely different manufacturing process. They're entirely different suppliers. It's in some cases they're in completely different architectures. But let's assume that you could, right? So the total that you came up with, I mean, these processors are nothing alike. These obviously the display is going to be nothing alike, etc. Right? Mm-hmm. The price that you came up with at the bottom before rebates, right there, is $527.90, and I don't know if I told you this. I actually have this laptop that you're going over in this video.
Okay.
So the one that I ordered was a 256 gig model, 16 gigs RAM, 1.3 gigahertz dual core. And that cost me, I think, $1,300, right? Margins are a thing. What I wanted to send you was the MKBHD video on margins with beats, right? This is the same argument that people make when they see articles, and we talked about this last stream, when they see articles about how the iPhone XS only costs maybe $290 to make, but they sell it for $1,000, right? So it's a fifth of the cost for manufacturing, and then you're supposed to believe, based off of that headline, that 4/5 of that is profit, when it's not. It's R&D, it's advertising, it's manufacturing. Like, there's a shit ton that goes into it. So considering the iPhone, in that case, is a fifth of the cost to manufacture, and the total cost of the MacBook that we're talking about is $1,300, and the price you came up with is $500. It makes about a third to maybe like 3/5 of it is the cost of the parts alone, right? Not counting the manufacturing process or anything like that. Does that make it a little bit easier to kind of understand how they're getting to the $1,000 price tag?
I mean, sure, and that's fine, but then the problem you have is when you look at MSI laptops or Asus, Acer, whatever, and they're around the same price, and they offer the components inside as that Mac you bought.
But they're completely different components.
Absolutely.
Look at the size of those MSI laptops.
Right, exactly. And don't get me wrong, that you got the thin HPs as well that are really expensive as well.
That are garbage.
Sorry, I know
they are.
I know a lot of people would really like them. I haven't used one before, but either way, I definitely get what you're saying. But when it comes to just components, right, and your price point for them, even if you're looking at a gaming PC or a gaming laptop or a regular laptop and then a Mac, and you look at the specs within and you compare those, sure, mate, there's a lot of marketing there. What were you talking about? All that stuff. But like the same exact price, and you get so much more when you buy MSI. At least component-wise, you're not getting the operating system. You're not getting
you get so much more powerhouse-wise, but that's not what this laptop is for. This laptop isn't made to go against MSI gaming laptops and be powerhouses. This laptop is made for convenience, and that sounds like something really, really stupid to say. But when you understand that these laptops are made for general web browsing, for emails, for media consumption, for light productivity and things like that, having something that ridiculously thin, it's like trying to sell an iPad versus a full-fledged computer. In this case, the laptop that Apple made is essentially an iPad with a keyboard that runs OS X. And for a lot of people, including me, that's all that I needed, right? Because I came from a Surface Pro 3 when I went to that, and before that I actually had a pretty decent gaming laptop before that. And I realized that I needed all of that power at home. This was like the crux of that gaming laptop video that I made. I realized that all of that power was fine when I was at home, but I didn't really need it when I went out places, right? And I didn't want to be carrying a huge Helios 300 that's 2 inches thick in my tiny ass backpack.
Right. So
and every other computer that was that size had horrible specs, horrible screens, horrible keyboards, horrible trackpads, were 3 times as thick because the MacBook is so thin, and had similar processors, right? So if you're taking all of that, like all of that $530 PC part picker list right there, and then putting it into where was the screen? Because Apple did some engineering that actually made this possible, and that was a big part of the sales pitch for that. Give me one sec. Where was the picture of the inside of it? What they did was they put every single one of those internal components into the size of an iPhone. And they filled the rest of that entire aluminum case with battery, which makes the thing, and I can attest to this, which makes the entire thing last over 10 hours, even if you're using it continuously. No other laptop can do that.
No.
So yes, it costs more, but there are certain trade-offs, and it hits this really niche demographic that I guess I'm a part of, where it makes sense to spend that much money on a laptop that's going to last you the entire day for small things like that and not take up that much space. You know what I mean?
Right. And I see what you're saying there, but like for me, I just look at other options and they seem more compelling to me. So this might be, it might come down to, and I don't exactly see how or why. I feel like there should be like an objective, yeah, but this or that, and there just might not be. But there's not.
It's all subjective.
Right, exactly.
It depends on your actual needs. And that's what I think the main problem that I had with this video was that it was kind of like speaking for everybody. It was kind of like ridiculing the people that would even think about buying. What? Go ahead.
No, and like it totally was. Like I saw that from the beginning. Like I made fun of that. Like I was like, wow, I'm just being a douche to like people who have Macs and whatever.
Sure. We are reading chat, by the way, Arctic Penguins. I can see that. I see the Chromebook comments. And actually, that's a really good point. Like, what I had when I made that gaming laptop video was a Chromebook. One of my favorite computers, one of my favorite laptops of all time is the HP Chromebook 11. Like, the very, very first one that Google really made for HP. It actually kind of looked a lot like the older plastic MacBooks because of how portable it was. Like, it's different strokes for different folks. Like, you just have to hit that certain demographic. Like, if this was not a good computer, people wouldn't have bought it. That's a terrible way of wording it, but it's the God's honest truth, and it wouldn't have stuck around for 2 going on 3 years. They would have discontinued it already. But there is an audience, and there's a reason why they're going with this versus other laptops. And to say that they're just oblivious to these other options, I don't think is very fair. You know what I mean?
Right. If I did, I probably would look for something that was as thin as I can get, and I wouldn't have a problem buying like a one of those battery pack things, just shove underneath it, you know?
Yeah.
But
also, the stream just went out for a little bit, according to all the Fs in chat.
Oh, it did. Yeah, it did. I wonder if it's still on. It says the output is low. It's not receiving enough video. Something. It's buffering. What?
Time to upgrade the internet?
I did upgrade the internet a little bit ago. 100 down, 10 up. But
it's back up for me. Like, I can get into it.
Yeah, they're saying it's still on. They said we're good.
All right, well, let us know if that changes again, folks.
Yeah, they're still telling me it's low, weird. So we'll find out.
Yeah.
But we can continue from where we were.
Okay, I think this is where we were. I'll correct it if I'm wrong.
$100 at full price. I got it on a plan, so it was cheaper.
Oh,
what
no,
about this
way too far.
Hold up. A new MacBook. Light. Years ahead.
Too early.
4. Both of those are faster than this computer's processor. My phone was $200 at full price. I got it on a plan, so it was cheaper. Back. But what about this PC? It says right here, starting at $1,299.
Okay.
Well, some might say, well, your phone's a phone. This Mac can do more than your phone. And yeah, that's true. So let's see what I can build on PC Part Picker at a similar speed of this MacBook.
Yeah, this
How
is
much
a
do
little
you
bit
guys
too
think
far
it's
back.
going to cost?
You want me to skip forward?
$503.
Yeah, we're
2
about
gigabytes of storage. Some of the parts are even superior to the Mac, and I share them all. You already saw this
where
one.
we were.
Check this one out.
Okay.
MacBook Pro. More power behind every pixel. What does that even mean? If I had to guess, they're probably talking about the Retina display, which is...
I love... Okay, sorry. This doesn't have to do with the point.
No, I saw it the second it happened too, and I was like, oh, man.
Oh, this has everything to do with the fact that you got real fucking close to your mic and went, More power behind every. And then you fucking boosted it, so there's just a shit ton of static.
More power behind every pixel.
Okay, I'll keep going. I'm sorry.
Just a higher resolution than their last models. Literally
Yes.
nothing else changed but a higher resolution. Regardless, this means nothing, but to anyone who wouldn't...
Wait, did they not change like the processor that generation?
More power behind every pixel? I don't know. They probably did. But
I would hope they did, because otherwise I might side with you, because it makes it sound like, I can't believe we're arguing slogans. It does make it sound like they upgraded the processor and the screen at the time that they made the Retina MacBook, which I actually had that MacBook too. I had that one before my current one. So I kind of get the slogan.
No, this is a huge statement. I swear to God, if they sold toasters, they'd slogan it. More crunch behind every slice. How? How could I not use someone else's toaster to get the same toast experience, Apple? MacBook Air. All the power you want, all day long. I'll give them this one. A 10-hour battery is impressive, but then again, the battery doesn't really have much to power. Really, when 1.3 gigahertz is all you got, you could power that on a cow for 4.5 hours.
What?
Now in
What does
Colossus-
that mean?
have you ever heard the slogan? Or not the
No.
slogan. No, hang on. Have you ever heard the phrase? What is it? It's typically on Minecraft. Minecraft can run on a toaster. Have you ever heard that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I actually, oh man, I remember the story. God, can you? Okay, all right. Well,
Go
I was
ahead,
over
we
at a
got
friend.
time.
I was over at a friend's house. She had a couple roommates, and I was trying to impress them. They're all girls, duh. That's what I was trying to do. And
They said, "Hey, girls." You called all the girls cows, and then
No!
you came up with this joke.
no, oh my God, no. But there I am, and they're sitting there, and they're like, I want to build a computer, because I was really into that at the time. I want to build a computer, and I was like, well, what games do you want to play? We'll find out how powerful it's got to be. And she's like, I play a lot of Minecraft, and I was like, you can run Minecraft on a cow, and they laughed, it killed them, right? So I was like, I have to put that in a video, and then I made this.
Oh, this joke made the room of thoughts, and I knocked him dead. I'm gonna throw it in the fucking
Yeah,
YouTube
that's
video.
exactly what happened, dude.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Thanks for the backstory.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Holy
I
shit.
forgot that
Ginormous.
even happened.
Why is this funny, you ask? Well, check this out. If you look up the word colossal, the definition is
Very.
extremely large. If you look up ginormous, the definition is extremely large. So you have a choice
Very.
here between extremely large and extremely large. What the hell? Here's one for their iPad.
What is that?
Super computer. Now in 2 sizes. Do you
See, come
how
on.
misleading
Oh,
this
come
is?
on. You're
Come
gonna give
on.
him shit for... What's wrong with it?
Super computer, come on. It's
Oh
just
my God.
It's dumb. It's dumb marketing, but it works, and it makes me
What
feel
the hell? Here's one for their iPads.
Sorry, I'm just
Super.
pausing it.
It's good.
Okay.
It makes me feel like I'm being patronized whenever I go to their website. I'm like, are
that
you
is
thinking
the biggest
I'm
victim
dumb
complex
enough?
I've ever
I'm
heard.
dumb enough to like, come on. It's just dumb. It's dumb marketing.
They're saying super because they made the Pro. It's the one on the bottom. It's a bigger. It's a super iPad.
It's a supercomputer. And
Very-
it's in 2 sizes.
The only one that I would actually have, the only one I've had a problem with recently
Yeah.
is the "What's a computer" iPad.
Oh,
commercials.
God, yeah.
I'm like, you sell computers. What the fuck are you doing?
But like, that's the thing. That's
But the only one.
No,
that's the only one that I
No,
can really point
because
out. The other
to
ones are
me-
fine.
To me, I've seen that from the get-go, and it's been annoying
How?
every time.
How though?
It's
that misleading?
It's not misleading. It's just I'm not saying it's misleading. I'm saying it's dumb.
You're
I may
saying
have
it's
said
patronizing.
well, yeah, oh my God, yes, because and that might have been because of the way Mike was saying it to me when I was working with
I
him.
think you're holding a grudge.
I'm not holding a grudge on Mike. It's just my experience. Like, that's what happened, you know? He was like, oh, whatever, man. Right, supercomputer.
I just don't. Okay,
Light years ahead, man.
I get it, but I don't think that a problem with marketing slogans results in a video titled "I hate Apple" that gets 500,000
also
views.
agree. I find this part very silly, but it's I'm happy I had it in there because it's fun.
Okay.
Computer, now in 2 sizes. Do you see how misleading this is? They are
it's not.
actually lying. They may as well
And
be
right,
telling
and I
you
said, I
that
even
this
said,
is better than your PC, and they believe it. iPad Air 2, light, heavy.
what does that mean?
This is somehow
I can
not-
tell you exactly what it means. It was lighter than the Oh my god, Barry. It was lighter than the previous generation and it had a faster processor.
That's
you
so
cannot
dumb.
tell me that you don't see that. You cannot tell me that it's just them having fun with words.
It's just it is, but it just makes me roll my eyes. It's silly.
Oh my god.
It's silly.
iPad Mini 4, mighty.
It's the same thing.
getting
If
really
you don't see it there, I don't know how else to
I see it. Look, I'm seeing what you're saying, but there's just this part of me where I'm like, but you could just, I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know.
It's just having fun.
It
I
annoys
think that
me.
they have to have they don't have to have it. They like having a slogan for it. They like summing it up into words. A shit ton of companies do this. Bose does this all the fucking time.
Bose sounds unsoundingly.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Irritating. iPhone SE, big.
How many of these are there?
And they cut themselves off. They'll probably get back to that one, but I'm done. In all, I will say that some of Apple's products are decent, but not worth the price. This is kind of shameful, but they're so confident about it, and really, that's all it takes for them. They just have to make an okay product and tell everyone with incredible confidence that it's the best product that they'll ever get, and it works. Can't say I blame them for taking advantage like that, and it's not their fault, really. The consumers let them get away with it, and I just can't understand why they chose Apple. Of all the companies, they went with the one that really slaps them across the face and takes their hard-earned money as it does it. Maybe that in a way is why, but I guess I'll never know. I don't want to see Apple killed off, but I would like to see them crash. Apple has great potential, and if they were to fall to their knees and their consumers stopped buying their products for a while, Apple would start having to compete again, and they would actually have to try, and I would love to see what they would do. What kind of technology they would actually work hard on and finally see some true innovation that they always talk about. But unfortunately, I don't think this is going to happen.
What?
The Apple we see is the Apple we get.
Big statements.
I thought you saw this
saying
before.
that they don't innovate or anything. Like,
yeah, I don't agree with that. They definitely innovate definitionarily. That's not a word, but
that
it
you
is
want
now.
to see them drop to their knees.
I want to see them drop to their knees.
And you want to see them crash.
I mean, crash can be good for a company. You know? It can. It really can.
Yes. But
at the time, that's how I felt.
But I just don't think that anything that they're doing... When companies crash, it's because consumers think they should crash. It's because consumers thought that they should crash so hard that they stopped buying their products, and that hasn't stopped. In fact, it's only increased. They must be doing something right. You cannot... If Apple came out with an iPhone that was $2,500, I wouldn't buy it, right? And I think a lot of other people wouldn't buy it, and that would have been a legitimate fuck-up, right? And because of that, they wouldn't have sold devices, and then they might actually be in trouble had they kept doing that long enough, right? Mm-hmm. I think that... Sorry, I saw F's in chat and I thought the stream cut out again.
You're good.
So I think that if they are selling what they're selling and people are still buying it, then I don't think that they're doing anything wrong.
I mean, yeah, that's a fair point.
Because the minute that they do that in the public's mind that they do stop innovating, they will stop buying. I don't think people buy it because it has an Apple logo. I think they do justify it.
I have a question.
Okay.
Let me answer your question with a question.
Mm-hmm.
How many people tried to make Hitler crash?
At this point, I doubt we'll ever really see a good phone that's actually worth my attention for the price.
God.
But who knows? They've surprised me in the past. I mean, remember that time when they made that iPhone that could bend in your pocket? Such innovation. So much hard work.
Man.
You're such a piece of shit. Yeah, no, I was selling phones when that happened. We got so much fucking ridicule for that. People would walk up to the demo devices and then pretend to fucking bend it. One person actually did, actually.
Really?
But the people that were doing that were literally shoving their fucking palms into each side of the post and bending it and being like, "Oh, see?" It's just a dumb fucking situation all around. But yeah, that was a pretty bad flaw.
Yeah.
Right, Apple?
I mean, that happens.
Okay. Is it time for Reloaded, or do you have any closing thoughts before we get to Reloaded?
So
Anything else you want to take back?
Yeah, there is something that I do want to say because
Okay.
that video in particular, the reason that I do the Reloaded series is because I'll go back and watch that video. I don't know how it happens, I just will. And I'll be like, there are things in there I don't like. There are things in there that I was on the right track, but like I didn't say the right thing. And honestly, you know when you're explaining something to someone and it sounds perfect in your head, but then they're like, "What?" and they just get the wrong idea. That's kind of how it was represented.
You mean my entire social life outside of the internet? Yeah.
Oh man. So I think I Hate Apple Reloaded will be the one that and I could be totally wrong. Maybe you'll open my eyes to something that I didn't even think before. But that's why we do this. So I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm scared,
Okay.
but I'm ready.
Why are you intimidated?
No, no, not intimidated.
Okay, don't be so quick to say no on that asshat. Jesus.
I mean,
Why are you scared then?
I mean, a little.
Okay, I can't say that word. Okay, before we get there though, I don't know about you, but I'm holding in some angry piss, so I'm gonna be right back for like 2 minutes. Be right back.
I'll get the second one like ready to go.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to you playing Binding of Isaac again.
Yeah, no, you absolutely are. Okay. Oh shoot, I showed the link. Oh, great. I gotta make a new watch together now. Thanks, Google. Create room. Sorry, guys. I just gotta make sure. Please don't. Oh, good.
There aren't very many
Nope. Step. And then X that. Get rid of this link. Go back here. Get rid of it again, because for some reason Google makes it show back up. There, we're good. And now we're good. Classic Barry. I had to pee really bad last time we were doing this, but I do not have to now. I'm very happy about that. Oh, man. Is it all ogre now? He's closing his browser history, by the way.
Okay, I'm back.
Hello.
Hello.
I was talking about how I don't have to pee.
Oh, well, lucky you.
Just messing around. That was not the conversation.
Hey, why does it say you're offline?
Offline in what? Oh, yeah, that's right. Ah, damn it. And oh, shoot. So I had to make a new watch together because I may have shown the link.
Barry,
Well,
I can't leave you alone for 60 seconds.
No, yeah, that's something you learn about me pretty quick.
Uh-huh.
Oh man. But we're good to go, and I got the other one up, and and you know what I did? I named it I Hate Apple .reloaded because of
I
their
saw that
because of their
drama.
Drama. No.
Uh-huh. Oh, you're telling me you're not being dramatic.
Oh, it's not dramatic. It's fun, like you said. They have fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Oh, it's fun. I forgot.
It's
so when you name the fucking video,
I hate Apple.
you're not being dramatic. Okay. All right.
Oh,
Go ahead. Start it.
Oh, I'm so glad I met you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't very many companies that I hate. I'll get upset at companies and bag on them for the stupid things they do, but for me to actually hate a company, that takes a lot. And I didn't always hate Apple. I looked up to them for a very long time. I had their 4th generation iPod Touch, and my first ever phone was the iPhone 5. But I was always a tech guy, so when it came to their computers, I just knew better. I mean, don't get me wrong, their computers were nice, but as someone who was just getting into computers, it didn't take me very long to realize how much I would spend for something that wouldn't do as much as the more affordable option. Plus, I was a gamer, and there was no way I was going to be sticking to my consoles for that much longer, so their computers just didn't make sense for me, but their phones? Nothing else beat them. I felt
fair.
so cool having an iPhone. Like I was finally part of the tech world, and just as it was in my nature, I jailbroke it for even more power. It wasn't until I started showing my friends who used Android phones all the cool things that I was able to do. I actually went to them bragging about how I could put any application in the dock and as many as I wanted to. I could fill folders with as many apps as I wanted instead of being limited to 10. I could now see my battery percentage next to my iPhone battery. I could adjust swiping transitions. I could change my icons. And it all made me so happy. Until all my friends simply told me that they could just do all that from the moment they bought their phones. The only people I could actually gloat to were my other friends with Apple devices. They thought I was so smart for figuring all that out, but if any of my friends had an Android phone, I just wasn't going to impress them. It wasn't until one day a guy in my class used his phone to disable the computers at school. He didn't want to do the schoolwork in a math class that day, so he just disabled the internet for everyone in the room.
I told you this.
I was so amazed.
Yeah.
Can you show me how to do that, I asked? On an iPhone, he laughed.
Can you show me
I
how
just
to
knew I
commit a
didn't have the
felony?
right phone. Don't get me wrong here. This isn't me saying Apple sucks because you can't hack computers. with it.
Can we make?
But
Can
I was
we
becoming
quick make a point here, because I don't know. I'm afraid that you don't get to this. To everybody watching the stream, don't fucking do this.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Please, for God's sake, do not fucking do
Dude,
this.
but he
You will
was-
get. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He was the kind of guy who would hack into his grades and change them, though. So like,
Oh, he
it
was
wasn't.
hacker, man.
Yeah, it wasn't very shocking when he turned the internet off. So yeah, but yeah, don't do that. I didn't actually say that before. I just figured that was.
You didn't put that in the. Oh my
No,
God.
I thought it was common knowledge. Like it's just that thing you don't do,
Dude,
but I
this
think
is
he did.
YouTube.
Yeah, right. I'd be like, hey guys, so heroin's fun. I tried that. Give it a shot. You know, like wow.
So I tried out this new thing, running red lights. You know, you get to work a lot faster. You
don't have to worry about
never followed traffic signal.
anything.
Okay.
And pedestrians don't come back. It's great.
Extra points.
Yeah.
Enthusiast. I wanted to dabble with technology. I wanted to play with something that offered me more than just a simple user experience. And when he did that, it opened my eyes to the things that I was missing out on. As I started researching Android
Felonies.
phones more and more and seeing the things you could do, it felt a lot like the way their computers made me feel. Why was I so restricted from doing the things I wanted to do? Why does Apple lock me out so much? And why do all their updates just implement features from Android phones? I just started to feel cheated after a while. And this was around the time that I started to hate Apple. You see, the more I looked into competing brands or spoke with my friends who had Android-based smartphones, the more I realized that Apple didn't actually have any original ideas. It seemed like every update that Apple came out with just took ideas from Android phones. And I'm not even talking about the big ones, like waterproofing or wireless charging, large displays, running 2 apps at the same time, a file manager, screens that compare it all to OLED, I can go on. And some of these things iPhones still can't do, but it was the small things. Small, no-brainers like allowing as many applications into a folder as the user wants. And most of the time, these updates added apps that I never wanted or used, like AirDrop and Newsfeed. Bloatware that just took up space for no reason and didn't give me the ability to remove.
What?
How is AirDrop bloatware?
I just never used it. There was no point for me.
But that's not even an app. That's just an API, I guess you could call it, or an extension. It's actually really useful. I mean, I say that because I film all my shit on my iPhones. Maybe that's cheating.
Maybe. Well, that was the thing. I had a better camera at the time than the one on my iPhone 5, so it just was unnecessary.
Right. I think a lot of what you said is 100% correct. At the time that the iPhone 5 was out, I had... God, what year would that have been? Let me just type in iPhone 5 versus, and that'll probably tell me what phone I had or what generation it was. Versus 5S, 5C, SE. Thanks, Google, you dumb
Versus iPhone 7. I wonder how that holds up.
versus the Galaxy... I think the S3 was what was out at the time, which would have meant that I had, I think, a Galaxy Nexus, believe it or not. So I was deep into rooting. I was deep into custom firmwares, theming, a lot of stuff. You're 100% correct. There was so much stuff that I could do that iPhones could not. And I think it's funny because, once again, I think we've either evened out or the tables are turning again. because I don't necessarily think, and maybe you address it later on in the video, you are 100% correct that Androids could do a whole bunch more than iPhones could, and that iPhones ended up taking a lot of features from Android, and now I think we're kind of going the opposite direction, because I feel like Android is taking a lot of features from iOS.
Absolutely. With the whole the no headphone jack anymore.
But even like real features, like look at the gesture controls on Oreo. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and then unlocking with your face, the Face ID stuff.
They made Face ID.
Yeah.
The Galaxy Nexus, the phone that I had, was the first phone, if I'm not mistaken, that had some sort of face unlock feature, and nobody gave a shit. No one cared, right? All of the sudden, and that was out for a while. Like a lot of phones, if you go back and look at like maybe an old S4 or like that Note that you have, Face Unlock is probably a feature because that was baked into AOSP Android.
It was eye unlock, so they used your eyes, not your face. But yeah, I mean it's the same thing.
On your Note 4? That was a really? That didn't have an iris scanner. The newer Notes have that.
It wasn't on my Note 4 then. It had to be on maybe my friend's when I was working at Falcon. It must have been one of his.
Right. That would have been the Note 8.
He slid the screen down and he could it looked at your eyes and
that's the Note 8.
Okay.
But like Face Unlock has been a part of like stock Android for a while. And then suddenly nobody cared. Or suddenly everybody cared, excuse me, when it went to the iPhone 10. Because it became like the only biometric form of identification or unlocking your phone, you know what I mean? And it was because they changed how it was done. On the older phones, it was all over media about how you could just trick it with a picture, right? You could just literally take a photo into Photoshop, make it pretend to blink, and it would unlock the phone, which is fucking terrifying.
Wow.
And then suddenly when Apple comes out with Face ID on the iPhone 10, they acknowledge, like, look, we've even tried this with like Hollywood masks and it can't get in, which is, I mean, it looks like they covered all their bases. And now suddenly not iris scanning, suddenly there's still RGB face unlock on phones like the OnePlus 6 that are, they're really fucking fast, but they're not nearly as secure, right? The OnePlus 6 is advertising a form of, face unlock that has been around since the Galaxy Nexus, and there's a reason that people didn't care about it back then.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think you are completely right that Android had a lot of features back then that the iPhone didn't.
And I'm really glad you're liking this video more.
So far.
At least so far. Right.
Your hopes up.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Like you just agree with everything at the end. You're just like, well, I'm an Android guy now. That's it. I'm done.
But that's the thing. Like, I'm not necessarily like a strictly Apple guy. I know we make it out to be for the stream.
Right.
But like, I have a Pixel, and I had a Pixel for a very, very good reason. I actually really liked stock Android. I really liked how well the Pixel runs it, especially the Pixel 2. I just think the Pixel 3 is fucking hideous. I think that the Note 9 and Samsung haven't done anything, and they're distracting themselves by offering duplicate apps on every single phone. But that's, I mean, we'll save that for later, because I'm sure you probably get to that in here.
The simplest thing about this was you couldn't and still can't upgrade the internal storage, so all of these apps just wasted precious space. Eventually, Apple started selling phones with more space, but sold them for incredible amounts more. Just look up how much it costs to manufacture a micro SD card. It's only a few cents per chip, but it's normal to see a couple $100 difference in phones simply because of this space alone. And they do this with everything.
But we
talked about that one.
Talked about that.
Yes, we did. But this is a different point too, because when you look up internal storage, like adding internal storage into devices, it doesn't matter what device, from Apple or Android, it doesn't matter. It always costs way too much more. And when you look up, I mean, it's flash storage, so it's very important. It's very fast. When you look up that kind of stuff, it does make you wonder sometimes, why the hell is it that much more expensive? But
yeah, but you get into classes of memory again, and
that
kind of falls apart. Like, you can't look at a regular hard. For people that missed like the last stream, you can't look at a regular hard drive, like a regular HDD, and say, well, that's 500 gigabytes. Why does this M.2 SSD that's also 500 gigabytes cost literally 1,000% more?
Exactly.
So yeah, okay. I'm glad we agree on that now.
Pretty unimpressive specs. A dual-core 1.3 gigahertz processor with 8 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM and a 512 gigabyte SSD for $1,600? And that's the premium model here. As someone who built computers for a living, this just got more and more insulting. And the problem is, any average person wouldn't even realize how out of date these specs are. I mean, hell, 10 seconds and I found a gaming laptop
But
that blows this
that's
Mac
not out of date. Hold on. That's not out of date.
Go back to the part where I showed the specs real quick.
Yeah.
As someone who built computers for a living, this just got more and more insulting. And the problem is,
you probably need
any
to go back
average
further.
person wouldn't even realize how
Oh, yeah,
out of
you're
date
right.
these specs are. I mean, hell, 10 and a 512 gigabyte SSD for $1,600.
Okay, so yeah, right here. 7th gen, that's actually brand new. DDR3 memory.
LP DDR3. Low profile.
Okay. I mean, 7th gen. Doesn't 7th gen have DDR4? Isn't that supposed to be DDR4? Intel? 7th gen Intel? I'm pretty sure.
I don't think.
Cause yeah, it was when sixth gen or maybe even 5th gen. Did you know there was a 5th gen CPU?
What are you talking about?
5th gen? Is that?
I heard what he said. I don't know what you mean by it.
Oh, okay. So there was something I didn't know for a long time, that there was a 5th generation. It was like an 8th generation of NVIDIA graphics cards to me. It was like, it doesn't exist. But it was part of the 2011 series, and I just passed it.
I had that. You're talking about the 5000 series, basically.
You
right?
had that, yeah?
I had a 5820K.
I had no idea those even existed. I thought the 5th
Yeah,
generation
they were socket 2011. It was technically, I forgot what the actual name of it is called. It's like their prosumer kind of lineup. So it's not Xeon. It's not typical X99. Or no, it is X99. It's not their typical whatever Z thing they call it. It was like this middle ground between Xeon and like their regular consumer things. Anyways, where were you going with that?
Where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So what I was saying is either 5th or 6th gen is when they got into DDR4, and I think it's 6th gen is when DDR4 memory started like really becoming a huge thing. So a 7th gen Intel should have DDR4 memory. I'm curious as to how they got LPDDR3, or why they would use LPDDR3. But DDR3 is still just fine. But when you said outdated, these aren't outdated. I look at it and I'm like, yeah, wait a minute. The only thing I could really think is the DDR3 memory, and even that's not bad. It's still within the.
And there's a quote from Phil Schiller that I just found actually discussing that new architecture. And Phil said, Intel made us choose between performance, DDR4, and battery life, LPDDR3, and we picked battery life. Which, for a smaller laptop like this, I can kind of see why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because that's also why they clock it so low. You know what I mean? That is an i5 instead of the M3, M5 series. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I kind of get that.
Yeah. So
Dollars? And that's the premium
wrong
model
word
here.
there.
As someone who built computers for a living, this just got more and more insulting. And the problem is, any average person wouldn't even realize how out of date these specs are. I mean, hell, 10 seconds and I found a gaming laptop that blows this Mac out of the water. A 120 hertz screen, a GTX 1060, 16 gigabytes of RAM with the exact same SSD, plus a 1 terabyte hard drive, an RGB chroma keyboard,
Pause it real
and a
quick.
quad-core CPU.
I want to look at the battery life on this thing, if it even says it here. I would probably have to look it up. 7th gen, blah, 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 blah. CR3, da, 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 da. Yeah, I'd probably have to look it up.
Already on it. Let's see.
Awesome.
But I think I can kind of tell you why that doesn't even matter.
We already talked about it. Yeah, in the last one.
It is a... I'm sure it's on here somewhere. Jesus Christ, Asus, for God's sake, just tell me.
They'll typically say 4 to 6 or...
Control F battery. Not even on the site. Holy shit.
Wow.
Specifications. Here we go. Battery. 4 cell 64 watt hours battery. It doesn't even put it in hours. The thing that you're comparing is a 17.3 inch laptop.
Mm-hmm.
You can obviously fit cheaper, larger components inside there. Right? And it's a different market that you're going after. This is a workstation. You're selling a truck to somebody that wanted a compact car. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's...
Okay, but my question has always been when it comes to this kind of stuff is if this thing's going to cost $1,600, right? This truck that you just said, right? Mm-hmm. Why would I spend the same amount of money or more money on a compact car.
Because the compact car that you're talking about is a Prius, and the truck that you're talking about is a Dodge Ram, right? No, I'm being serious, right? It sucks to call this MacBook the Prius of laptops,
Right?
But it's a different use case scenario. The truck, you're going to be doing heavy work, heavy loads, literally, right? But your mileage, your gas mileage, is going to fucking suck, right? The compact car is going to be literally physically smaller and get a hell of a lot better fuel economy. But you won't be able to do any of that towing or anything like that. But for what you needed to do, aka get you from point A to point B, it'll do that. And guess what? It costs about the same. It costs maybe a few $1,000s less than the truck does. I think that's the best analogy that I can make.
I think that is a really good analogy, and I give it to you. You've won that.
Okay, I think that frames this whole context around like what we've been trying to say about the 12-inch MacBook a little bit better. I think if you were going against a MacBook Pro, there might be a better argument, but even then, the MacBook Pros are so goddamn thin that it's like that's the the Tesla semi truck, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
And it's one of those things that's subjective. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care about that battery life. I don't really leave much, and when I do, I don't have a problem plugging it in or getting a battery pack. Like I don't care about how bulky it is. I got a nice backpack. So like there are just things that I'm like, why do I want that so much that I'm spending so much money to get less than something like this? You know, like this will do me, and it'll do me very well.
But it's because you're looking to tow shit.
Exactly. That's the thing. I'm in a different market.
A lot faster than the Mac. Apple literally sells inferior products that are cheaper to make, do less, and slow down over time, and then they have the audacity to sell it for more than a top-tier gaming laptop. And people buy this stuff. Well, Barry, it's not about the hardware, it's about the operating system. Oh, so you mean to tell me that you're buying their aluminum and plastic with outdated internals because the restrictive operating system is better than the alternatives? Such as Microsoft OS, which you can still get for free from their website, or Linux, which has always been free and built on never restricting anyone. Look, if you like their OS, that's great. If you like their products, that's great, and I'd completely agree with you. But you're stupid if you tell me it's worth what they're asking for it. And before you finish typing that ridiculous comment that you're seriously typing right now, I want you to...
That fucking hurt me, man. I'm your friend. What the fuck?
I made this video.
We're supposed to be friends.
Specifically for you, Dev. I made
My
this
name
video.
is in the title. Ow, what the fuck? I want to hear that again. I want to fucking... Hold on, I'm going to need this for therapy.
Great. If you like their products, that's great. And I'd completely agree with you. But you're stupid if you tell me it's worth what they're asking for. And I'm typing that ridiculous comment that you're furiously typing right now. I want you to go to Apple's website, pick a random component within one of their computers, and find the price for it online. They're still using DDR3 RAM and dual-core processors in computers that cost over $1,500. And before I beat this point into the ground...
And economy cars use...
Yes.
Motorcycle engines.
Yes.
Like, okay, we're past that point.
Yes, we're past that.
Aluminum and plastic, the cheapest materials possible. And again, it's fine if you want to make your products out of cheap materials. But Apple spends about $370 to make today's iPhone 10. Are you still happy paying $1,000 for it?
Barry.
See, the biggest issue I've had with Apple recently is its inability to innovate and its blatant lies.
Comments?
Pause. Yeah, I get comments on that.
Okay.
You're stupid if you believe... No, so at this time I had my Razer phone. This thing is made out of aluminum and plastic. This thing is made of aluminum, plastic, and glass. And honestly, there's no better material for a phone. Most laptops that I've owned are made of plastic, and they're totally fine. Laptops from Mac are typically made of aluminum, and I like the way they feel a lot better. HP has recently started using aluminum. So cheapest materials possible? No. Even if they are really cheap, which they are, they're still much better than just using plastic on phones. So that point that I had in there, I don't agree with.
Okay, I can get behind that because I was gonna say, like, I felt like you had it in your head that aluminum was a cheap material. Okay.
No.
I mean, there's different grades of it. We can get into that, but okay, I wanted to make sure.
Is that it was. Every time Apple has a big idea, it flaunts it for all of its users. Meanwhile, everyone else is thinking, we've been able to do that for years. They just take ideas from other companies, and this in itself isn't that big of a deal. But to do this constantly, to always be behind the competition, to consistently take ideas from others and call it innovation, especially when they don't even improve on the ideas. A lot of the time, the innovations are
I
just
don't
as
agree
good
with
or
that.
not as good as its competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you want to say?
I mean, okay, so I did follow up well. I said typically it's done as well or not as good as its competitors. That has been the case before, but when it comes to Apple,
Where?
most of the time when they improve upon something or when they like I said steal an idea, they tend to do a much better job. Like we just talked about the Face ID. They improved on their own home button, which I actually really like pressing. Didn't they
Yeah.
remove that thing though?
The home button?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gone.
Oh, that sucks. I really like that thing.
And see, it would, but the home bar or whatever they're calling it is a hell of a lot better.
Is it?
Like, ever since they changed the way that multitasking works in iOS 12, you can literally swipe across the bottom of the home bar to go to the last app. So if you're trying to like text somebody info that you needed to Google real quick, you can do it in literally a flash. There's no double tapping, then selecting the app or anything like that. No. Just swipe across the home bar.
Okay.
It's really intuitive, surprisingly. It looks better, obviously, because there's nothing there, and I think it worked out so well that that's part of why Google is implementing it in Oreo, which is going to be extremely interesting to see how other OEMs implement that. I'm very, very intrigued to see how Samsung is going to put that in the Galaxy S10.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very intrigued to see how even Razer would put it into the Razer phone, considering you've probably gotten really used to the home button now. I think making a change like
no
that.
home button on the Razer phone.
Well, there's a virtual home button. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Right.
yeah,
That they're getting rid of that is what I'm saying.
right. Well, okay. Have you ever used the browser on your phone? It's called Cake.
No.
Okay, so it's a browser, and it sounds similar to what you're saying. Essentially, you look up a thing, and instead of giving you a Google list of things to click on, it just sends you to the first web page, and then you just slide to the right to go to the next web pages. And it's really fast, and it's
That's more of what Oreo is doing, I think. I'm looking at it
Right.
right now, and it looks a lot like the multitasking on
that
Oreo.
sounds like the
But
direction.
think of doing that, but with apps across the bottom of your screen, and that's what the home bar did.
Okay.
And and so I mean, like when they come up with these kind of things, they are coming up with better. They are coming up with better like solutions for it. I guess they finally found something that was better than the home button.
You would say I haven't used it yet, and then I did also see people in the chat, some people saying that it was really annoying to use. So
The home bar?
yeah,
Really?
some people are saying. Let me go back up real quick. Where is it? Improve in quotes. Shoot. I have to go back, and I don't. It was just something that slid by. There were a couple of them. I don't like the way the home bar works. It's annoying to use. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. There's just a few of those. So I don't know. I haven't used it. I haven't used it yet, so that's going to be one of those, like, I'll go into Verizon or something and play around. But
Okay. Yeah, I think I don't know. It's just, it's fun. Like, it actually changed the way that I used it. And up until iOS 12, multitasking and, like, closing apps was a bitch because you had to swipe from the bottom up, hold it, and then you could start swiping
wait
things
for
away
them
or
to
hitting the
shake.
minus button.
Yeah. Oh, hitting the minus button, dude. When they made it so you could just, like, slide them, that was great. I loved that.
But that went away in the iPhone 10. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Right.
So the iPhone 10, you would swipe up from the bottom, and then you would see all of your apps, and you would have to hold down one of them and either tap the minus or then swipe up again. And
Right.
it got annoying. And they said, you know what, this is fucking stupid. And there were jailbreak tweaks that I was using at the time that would actually like let you just swipe them up. And sure enough, in iOS 12, you
Yeah,
can
I
just
used that.
swipe them up. Yeah.
So what is interesting to me, though, I'd like to see how I think about that, because, like, you know the buttons for Android, you little square, and it takes all the tabs
Yeah.
that you had, and then you just click clear, and it's, like, really simple. That's what I mean, I don't know if is it better than that, would you say? Like, you like it more? It's more convenient?
It's literally the same thing, but vertical.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's literally, yeah, it's the same exact thing but vertical. The only difference is, and this is probably a deal breaker for you, even though multitasking has gotten really good, there's no clear all button.
Oh, okay. Why?
I don't know.
Huh.
Probably because if I had to guess, Apple wants to reinforce the idea that it's handling your multitasking for you, which is true. Android does the same thing, but I don't know why there's not a clear all button. You have to sit there and swipe all of them away if you really want to.
Yeah,
so that's the only difference. But it is quite literally the same as Android multitasking, except you just swipe up instead of to the side.
Okay. All
so,
right.
I don't know.
This was almost never the case when Steve Jobs was around. When they took an idea, they made sure no company could do it better. Sure, maybe they didn't come up with the idea, but at least they improved on it, perfected it, and the ideas that they do have are more often than not horrible. For example, the removal of the headphone jack that everyone complained about, resulting in awkward amounts of dongles just to enjoy a similar experience to everyone else. Removing all the ports in their laptop.
Have you changed your mind on the headphone jack at all?
After I thought about it a little bit, I prefer to listen to music through a cord. I'm listening to you through a cord right now. There's no way if you were like, "Hey Barry, go ahead and put on a pair of Bluetooth earbuds or headphones and listen to me that way." I don't know. It's not my thing, but it's way more convenient to have Bluetooth. It just is. So
yeah,
that's just a fact. It is. I prefer corded, but that's because I'm probably one of those old dum-dums who don't like to move on. And I should.
I wouldn't call it that. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think that you're getting left behind, as horrible as that sounds. And yeah, I'm going to let the next part play because I know this has a lot to do with it.
Laptops, except for these dumb USB-Cs, which you again have to buy adapters for in order to use average everyday ports. And
that's something that we touched on last stream too.
Mm-hmm.
USB-C is the future. We've been saying this for years, and eventually we'll fucking get there. But for now, we're stuck using adapters in the same way that people were using USB CD drives, in the same way that people were using other adapters for PS2 back in the day. Like, I think it's just a really long change just because of how long USB has been around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that sucks. What I notice, actually, and it really sucks too, is I can't find a computer case that just has front panel USB-Cs. I want that. That's something that I just,
Yeah.
But
you feel like you're at the point where you can actually use that.
I am. I'm at the point my phone charges via USB-C. Most of the cords in my house are either USB-C or micro USB. And the micro USB ones are they're going away. They're the ones that I use for like my old tech, and I just upgrade whatever. But I also do appreciate.
So why haven't you done that with the headphone jack yet?
Well, why haven't I done that with a headphone jack? Because the headphone jack is, oh my god. So this is the thing that pisses me off too, is I have lavalier mics, right, that I would love to be able to plug into my phone so that I can record myself while I'm out shooting a video on my camera.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I have the Rode Smart Lav or whatever.
But I got to use a dongle in order to hook up the lavalier mic to my phone. And it's just, why? I'm not going to get that mic through Bluetooth. And if I do, it's not going to sound as good. Or it just won't.
I have the, so what I do is I literally just keep the dongle on the end of the lav. Because it comes with the phone. I can't say that anymore, which sucks. But I think eventually, like, that the iPhone has been out long enough that I'm very surprised that Rode, at least that's the company that I bought my lav mic from, isn't making a lightning version of that lav mic.
Right.
It's been over 2 years now.
Or a USB-C version of that lav mic.
Or a USB-C version, exactly. And it's not like that's uncommon because back when, even for the headphone jack, when Bose was making the QC25s, there was an Android version and an Apple version, but both of them use the headphone jack. And the reason why they did that is because Android would interpret the TRRS like button presses differently than an Apple device would. So they literally had to sell a different SKU to solve that. It was really fucking weird. And I feel like the same thing is going to happen now, but I mean, it's not some territory that we haven't crossed before. I think that surprisingly, I mean, you've told me how terrible USB-C audio is. I think it's an absolute marvel that somehow Lightning to headphones doesn't have that same problem, and it makes me wonder why that is.
Yeah, weird.
There's no quality degradation at all.
I've seen videos and I've heard it myself, and it just doesn't. I don't know. You might have to check it out. It may have been the earbuds that I use, and I was using earbuds. I wasn't using like a headset, so it may have just been bad earbuds from a bad company. You know.
Sure.
So I'll have to do more testing before I can actually get like a solid. But yes, so we can continue.
Okay.
Addition of this touch bar here that most everyone I've seen review the MacBook Pro say is useless and just there to look cool. A lot of their own ideas just
Sorry, we're pausing this a lot. I
all
would,
good.
as somebody that's genuinely looking at getting a, I don't know if I've told you, and this is going to piss off everybody. Oh my god,
There are a lot of people
gonna
in the chat.
Even the people that are like supporting me right now by chance are probably going to fucking hate me for saying this.
Oh man.
For my workload, I have genuinely thought about selling my desktop and my current MacBook and going straight MacBook Pro and eGPU.
Oh,
And-
why?
Well, think about it. If I do, like, the MacBooks are thin enough that there's not a huge difference between that and my 12-inch MacBook, right?
Okay.
So the portability, if I end up going with a 13-inch, is fine, right? If I go with the 15-inch, which is only larger in like surface area, not really thickness, then I can still get a decent i7 or i9. The i9 has problems that may or may not have been ironed out, right?
Yeah.
So I have an
wouldn't- I
i7
wouldn't go
for a
i9.
desktop. Right, exactly. So I have an i7 for a CPU. And then if I get an eGPU, which I'm only ever going to need at home, I can still put my 1080 in there. Right?
Right,
So when I'm
because
at
you have
home
that.
and I want to boot camp into Windows and play games, I can. And then when I want to leave, I can just take it with me. This is why I liked the Razer Blade Stealth so much. The Razer Blade Stealth, and I hope I win people back with this because I don't want it to seem like it's an Apple thing. It's an Apple thing because I prefer Mac OS, right? The Razer Blade Stealth is an idea that is way ahead of its time, and I cannot wait until we get to the Razer Blade Stealth for everything. I think it makes so much sense to leave all the graphics power that you only need at home, and take the powerful productivity part with you. You know what I mean? And someone made a very good point that I'm going to have to deal with CPU bottlenecking, and that's absolutely correct. I think that for the things I'm going to be doing on the go where I won't have like a fan or anything like that, I can probably get away with it. When I'm at home, I'll have like a dock that has some sort of fans in it, just like the GPU enclosure does. It's something I'm going to experiment with. I don't think it'll be perfect. I understand there's a lot of bandwidth problems with USB-C, or not USB-C, I'm sorry, Thunderbolt 3 at the moment, and you lose like 10 to 15% of whatever the graphics card is pushing out. But I think it's within the margin of error that I would prefer, or not a margin of error, it's a loss I'd be willing to take to have that power with me when I need it and still have that portability.
What GPU are you gonna use?
Either 1080 or a like the NVIDIA hasn't updated their drivers for OS 10 for a while. So either that or an RX Vega 64, because those just work natively with no drivers.
Okay. Oh, wait, why? Why do those just work negatively? Is that
It's
just the
just
way they
something that
work?
AMD does. I think it's
Really?
something to do with OpenCL. I don't know. I could be wrong. But NVIDIA cards straight up basically don't work, or they only work in like this safe VGA mode without their drivers, and NVIDIA hasn't updated them in about a year.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I know the chat is freaking out on me right now. But
so-
again, it's not the fact, like, take out what I just said and replace it with Razer Blade Stealth and Razer Core and see if the anger stays. If it does, I want to hear why.
Well, no,
no, and I don't mean that in a dick way. I'm
Right.
genuinely curious because it's something I've been thinking about doing.
Right.
Replace all the Mac stuff with Razer Blade Stealth and Razer Core, and I want to hear your genuine opinions outside of that, because I want to do that same setup just with a Mac, because they support that now ever since High Sierra, and I can still use OS 10 and Windows 10. In the meantime, Barry, I kind of wanted to hear your opinion on that too.
Right. So my genuine opinion is, if you brought that idea to me as like a situation fixer for myself, I wouldn't consider it. But like you said, your life is of course different than mine, and you're doing different things. When I think of, so with the Razer, the only problem you have is you're definitely going to get bottlenecking, and performance, it doesn't seem to last with laptops. The batteries get old.
Yeah.
And you end up sacrificing a lot more processing power because of that. So then not only do they not game well when you get them, the gaming part kind of degrades after a time on laptops. They're harder to upgrade, especially if you're going to buy a Mac.
But I feel like that's what the eGPU solves. If I want to go to another card, I just pop out the 1080 and pop in the 2080.
Yes, but then here's the problem with that. If you're doing that, and let's say you've had the thing for about a year, and your battery starts to go out, or it's getting to that threshold where it's kind of eating a lot more power from the processor to stay alive, then really your graphics card, what's it worth at that point? Because you're still going to be gaming. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. Like it's just one of those things that I would like to hear what happens more so than I can kind of predict what happens, but I've got a good idea.
I think that's what I'm doing it. I'm really curious because I want that to be the future so bad. I think it is ridiculous. Max Q was an insane idea of putting in these full-size graphics cards into laptops and then selling them for around the same price, like around at least like $1,300. But you're carrying this fucking brick with you. You're carrying this slim MITX style laptop with you. And for a lot of people like myself, it's not realistic to be carrying that around in essentially its own bag or making my backpack extremely heavy, right? Especially if I'm taking it to a university classroom or just a board meeting or something like that, where I don't need the graphics card that's inside that. Right? So if I can deal with something lighter, this is why iPads sell. iPads and tablets in general. Think of the tablet that you got. Why did you get it? Because you didn't want to take your, like a huge laptop. When we went to fucking LA, Barry, you would have, did you use your gaming laptop at all? You used it, but it was nothing that you couldn't have done on your tablet, right?
Yeah, like, no, I practically just watched YouTube videos the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something that you could have done with a tablet. Mm-hmm. So if you could have left, I mean, your laptop with the graphics card subtracted is essentially that 12-inch MacBook Pro, right? So, or a 13-inch MacBook Pro, excuse me. So you could actually have taken that with you and left the graphics at home, and you would have had a hell of a lot lighter workload, huh?
Yeah.
I think that's the idea that I'm trying to get at. Because if I know I'm not going to need that power, I might as well leave it at home and only take what I need.
Yes. Okay. So, and this is how I feel on that. I like that you're that kind of person because I'm the very opposite. When it comes to, I'm the kind of person where I will take more than I need just in case. Because I always feel it's better to have it and not need it than it is to not have it and want to utilize it or need it, right? So if I want to do some video editing there and I didn't have my graphics card, make it go faster, that sucks, you know? But I understand what you're saying and I can get on board with that. So it's not something that I'm like, your opinion's wrong. You're
saying that my workload is different.
My workload is different than your workload. And if I were to bring, my God, I have the PlayStation 5 downstairs, that little VR machine that I have. Yeah. Dude, that thing probably weighs maybe 10 pounds, maybe. Mm-hmm. Right? I bring that over to my friend's house all the time. I don't care. I won't even use it half the time, but I don't have a problem lugging it around. It's got a handle. I don't, whatever.
And I'm trying to figure out the right way to explain this. People in the chat are saying Chromebooks exist too. You could have just used a tablet. That's my exact point. Imagine if that tablet, like something as light as a tablet, could be your actual laptop, but when you wanted it to be that powerful, you just plug it into your eGPU when you get home.
Right.
If you could plug your tablet into your eGPU and hook all your peripherals up to it, what the fuck is it? What's different to you? Right? If your monitor's at home permanently plugged into the eGPU, then that's it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Instead of buying a Chromebook on top of my desktop and not having the option at all to take the power with me, or instead of just spending a lot of money on a big gaming laptop that I have to take that heft with me wherever I go, I'm getting a light laptop that has the ability to transform into a workstation with a GPU.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going to have performance loss, but yes, that is exactly what's going to happen, and hopefully it works out really well. I will say, when it comes to the future, I don't know what you think about like tech in the future and everything, but when it comes to desktops, they're going to get small. I think graphics cards are going to get small. We might only have portable laptops or desktops or whatever. Our phones are going to be really powerful. So, and I think batteries are the thing that we actually need to focus on. If we can get batteries working better, then all of our problems can be solved really easily with this kind of thing. But what do you think about the future when it comes to, I mean, you're talking about that kind of thing. That's where you would like to go, right?
I think the main problem that people are having in the chat right now, and I want to come clean. I am not saying this to degrade the chat at all. I am loving this discussion because, again, this was something I'm considering, and I want to hear things against it to help me make my decision, right? So when I say that, I'm not going against chat. I appreciate everything that I'm reading. And there's no way to sound out or say that without sounding like you're just appealing to the crowd. Being honest, what I think is going to happen is that another standard, say Thunderbolt 4, is going to come out that eliminates the bottleneck that we see that reduces the performance of the GPU by 10 to 15%. I think it's going to let us actually mirror back the display to the laptop's display without losing even more bandwidth. I think that'll solve itself. On top of that, I think the thermal throttling that you see from smaller and thinner laptops like the MacBook, like the Razer Stealth, etc., will eventually go away due to better cooling solutions, or just even using a cooling pad with it if you plan on using more intensive applications. This is a problem with gaming laptops also. This problem doesn't go away just because you add or because you have a gaming laptop instead. Everybody that I know that has a gaming laptop, when they're using it to game, runs it on some type of cooling pad. So if you're going to do that anyways, you might as well have something thin when you're on the go. You know what I mean?
I got a question for you.
Sure.
If all you're going to do is have a little laptop that you want to play games, right? Then why don't you just sign up for one of NVIDIA's or Google's streaming things where you just stream the video game?
Oh my God. That is my video idea. That is the next video idea I've been working on. Yes.
Really?
We have been here before. Did you get invited to Project Stream? That's the Google one.
I got emails about it. I don't know if I was invited, but I got emails about it.
I got the invite.
Okay.
I made a video on OnLive, which was what started this whole cloud gaming craze like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's a joke, and it's still a joke. Even with the advances we made in video codecs, living where you and I do, we will never fluently use this service. I want to explain to you, when you use a cloud gaming service like that, we're going off on a tangent here, but I want to...
Yeah, we got to get back to the video, but I want to hear about this first.
When you use a cloud gaming service, you are adding so much latency to your controls, right? Now think about you and I using these monitors that we buy because they have 0 to 5 milliseconds of latency. Think about adding another 100 milliseconds on that, and then think about trying to pitch that to somebody that's using a TV with nearly a full second of latency on top of that. It's horrible. And then it depends on your internet connection, which if it's spotty means that you're losing control and like getting actual quality degradation at the same time. It's not going anywhere for a while. We're way off. We haven't come any closer. Even the Google one, surprised, we haven't gotten any closer than what OnLive did. And I played OnLive because I didn't have a computer that could run games. So OnLive was like a savior. It's still not good. Project Stream isn't good. NVIDIA's is the closest thing to good, but there's still a lot of delay. One of the games that you can play on, I think it's called GeForce Now. One of the games that you can play is CSGO. Try playing. I dare you. Okay. I have a beta invite. Oh, no, wait. No, it's only for Mac. I have a beta invite, but if I can figure out a way to get you to run it, you'll see how horrible and like laggy it is for people like us. They're trying to market it to PC players that are used to playing with as low latency as possible in terms of like input latency, not just internet latency. But add your internet latency on top of that. Awful. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I have something planned for that. Hopefully that will come out, but because I want to rant about it, it's really bad. So, anyways, what were we fucking talking about?
God, it went on. We were talking. You know what it was? You know what started it was the touch bar, and then it went all the way here.
Yeah. What I meant to say, the reason I told you about all of that stuff, me thinking about going to a MacBook for a main computer and everything like that, because that's why I'm thinking about going to a MacBook. And they come with touch bars. And as somebody that's thinking about buying that computer, I can tell you right now, the touch bar is a joke. I think it's a neat idea for emojis, and that's about it. And it's not worth what they charge more for a touch bar. I think it's really intuitive. I think that, changing your brightness with a slider is nice. Changing your volume with a slider is nice. And being able to your function keys to whatever would normally be in like your menu bar is a great idea. I just don't think it's going to catch on, and I wouldn't be surprised if it went away. And that's the thing. Apple doesn't have nothing but good ideas. I don't think the Touch Bar is an awesome idea. They implemented Touch ID when Face ID became a thing on their main line for phones. And I think eventually that'll get replaced with Face ID.
Okay.
So I don't think everything that they do is great, and I think the Touch Bar is probably one of the other missteps that they made. It's not awful by any means, but I don't think it's going to stick around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just makes using the product a touch more tedious than it has to be.
A touch
and the thing
more.
that bothers me so much about this was Apple was never this way. Steve Jobs was someone I admired for his ingenuity, innovative thinking, and usability when it came to his products. He knew how to design something that would not only function, but would make your life easier, and Apple forgot how to combine these features today. They don't know how to innovate, and their way of doing so is by implementing things that worked for other manufacturers in the past and implementing ideas that are solely there to make you spend more money on dongles. Seriously, all of these cables are from $20 to $90 each, and you're already paying a couple $1,000s for the laptop. And this goes for their phones as well. The funniest thing about this is I lied earlier when I said removing the headphone jack was their idea. They actually took that one as well. I mean, are you actually surprised? But there was something that for the longest time I couldn't understand about Apple. How in the hell, even with all of this, does Apple retain any customers? With all of their cheap hardware, their insane prices, their harsh sales tactics, I mean, just look at the way they sold the iPhone X. First, they announced the iPhone 8 starting at $700, and then
This
the
part
iPhone
might
8
bother
Plus
you.
starting at $800. They then told the audience that both of these phones only have 64 gigabytes of storage, and since we've implemented a 4K camera finally, that 64 gigs won't last you very long. Moving us over to the same phones with 256 gigabytes, which will cost $850.
Wait a
for the
minute.
iPhone
My iPhone 7 did 4K. I'm fairly certain. Hold
Did
on.
it?
I'm pretty sure. Yes, Apple introduced 4K video support to its iPhone lineup with the release of iPhone 6s and 6s Plus.
6S. I just had wrong information there.
Okay, sorry, that caught me. I know you want to make a point that's bigger than that, so hold on.
Oh, no, it's good.
and $950 for the 8 Plus. But then, if you want our iPhone X, we have the same options. A 64GB option starting at $1,000, but again, that space will certainly be an issue. And then a 256GB version that goes for $1,150. Neat, Apple. They sold these phones in a stepping stone order to get us consumers okay with the idea of spending $1,000 minimum on a phone. A phone that again cost $370 to make. And the funny thing is, people cheered. They were so happy. Hey, yay, we're being screwed over. This is great, but why? This whole price thing isn't even the worst of it all, too. Take into consideration everything we've talked about. Them using cheap materials and outdated hardware to save money and ensure the phone doesn't last. They slow the phones down with updates because they use batteries that die out within 2 years. They take ideas and enforce design that pushes the consumer to spend more money than they ever should on dongles. And they just make up bullcrap and sell it. They sold a picture book. And don't get me wrong, it looked pretty cool, but it certainly didn't look $300 cool. And people buy it.
No, it wasn't $300 cool. I don't know why they did that. I saw the I Just Seen video on it, and
Yeah.
look, man, I'm pretty diehard. I don't know that I could be. For that. I could go to a library and read through it, but I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We passed a lot.
We
without
did.
pausing.
Yeah.
I feel like 90% of what you just said, you've kind of taken back.
Yeah, we actually already talked about it. That's why I didn't tell you to stop. But that whole battery thing, that was still around the time news was coming out, so we didn't know. So I just threw that in there. And then the whole cheap materials thing we already talked about. I wasn't worried
And then
about that.
the pricing thing. How about that?
The pricing thing we talked about, I still think it's too much for a phone. Even if, like, because you talked about the 64 internal, right? You're never going to use all that, right? And I made it seem like you would. Getting my phone with an internal 64 gigabyte of storage, great, fine. I haven't used it yet. But what's really cool is I can put as much storage in there as I want. It could be cold storage, of course. It's going to hold phones and video or photos and videos and whatever. But like I can do that. And when you have a company asking for, which my phone was $650, or I paid $744 with all the other crap, and the phone does practically the same stuff and has practically similar internals, but then costs that much more. I'm like, yeah, marketing, yeah, all that money, but God, that's just so much to ask.
It's tough. It's a Model 3 versus a Model S. They're both decent cars in that case, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one of them is a lot more powerful and has different features, right? Your phone does the same exact thing that mine does. However,
As
and
a
I have a 10s
120
Max
hertz,
for those who don't know.
mine has
Yeah.
a 120 hertz screen. It's got
Okay.
super boosted, powerful speakers.
Okay.
It's sexy, but it looks like a brick. I mean, yeah, it looks
It
like
does
a
look
brick.
like a brick. Yep.
But yeah, so go for it. Go continue.
But
with your
in
shit.
comparison, for those who don't know, I have an iPhone 10. So yeah, definitely chilling here. And if we were going to make a direct comparison and try to justify the price, my processor is better. The A12, the A11 for that sake, demolishes the 845 that's in your phone. The A12 is rivaling Intel desktop chips at this point. It's actually insane. The camera, the camera is
Your
better
camera is much better than mine. I had to
on both the front and back.
Yes.
Right. The screen is better outside of the refresh rate. OLED gives it better colors,
Yes.
right? You have
that was
this
another
full
thing.
screen design.
That was another thing that I had to there were a few things that I was like, I got to give that up if I want this phone.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The materials are better.
what is your phone made of?
Glass and stainless steel.
Damn. Yeah, you got me there.
Yep. Those types of things, right? There's more, but we've gone too long, right?
Right.
Those types of things, I believe, can justify $999. Those same features are in the 10s, so let's go with $999, right?
Okay.
So we're talking about a $300 gap, and think of how much more R&D and advertising Apple does than Razer, and in your mind, can that justify $300? You've never seen a Razer commercial.
Okay, you're right. You're right. So in my mind, it does. But if I go back in time, and I think about going back in time a lot with this kind of stuff, it does not. I feel like had Apple come out with the iPhone 10 back in 2012, it wouldn't sell for that much. There's no way.
I'm sorry, say that again. I was Googling something for the chat.
Oh, I was saying if the iPhone 10 came out in 2012, it just wouldn't have sold for that much money, even with the same stuff. And you had the iPhone 4 that came out that was made of Gorilla Glass, and was it actually just glass, or was there steel in there too? And that thing was a $600 phone, $500, whatever it was. You know? Right.
But there weren't nearly as many components, or even the materials were actually different at the time too.
Right.
Right.
I look back and
But then at the same time, the Galaxy Note 9 wasn't selling for $1,000 either.
And it doesn't need to. It shouldn't. I don't think they should.
It does. The mobile space wasn't nearly as crowded. It was not nearly as researched. It was not nearly as advertised. It's a tough industry to be in. Yeah. I think looking back, like especially trying to teach people what phones were was a cost in itself, right? Or what these smartphones could do. You still had people converting from flip phones to their first iPhone 4 back in the day, right?
Right.
And there weren't really budget phones like that back in the day because it was so expensive to manufacture. I mean, OnePlus kind of started that revolution, and that was back in the days of around probably the iPhone 4S, I think, or maybe even the iPhone 5. So I don't think you even had cheap smartphones at that point that were even worth you. So I think we have to look at now and compare those prices, because even if you do it in the past, I mean, the iPhone 4 costs how much versus the nearest Samsung? Because there was no such thing as a Razer phone or anything like that. You know what I mean? You have even less stuff to compare it to.
You just had flagship. iPhone 4 launch cost. It was... Wow, $199 for 16 gigabytes.
No. That's 2-year contract price.
Oh yeah, Verizon Wireless. There you go. You're right about that. Do I need to? Where do I go to get that information then? iPhone 4 wiki. Where's your price? I want price. No, you're not gonna give it to me. $5.99, $6.99. Okay, there we go.
How much was it?
$5.99 to $6.99.
Right. $600. What your phone currently costs.
Right.
That was a flagship back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, prices went up.
And think of everything that's been added. The displays are bigger, the materials are better. There's 2-3 cameras on the phone, 2 in the back alone, right? And the processor is now rivaling desktops. That's not a joke either. Like,
right.
It is quite literally rivaling some of the top CPUs.
I mean,
I think it kind of explains how we got to the pricing of where we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. You could probably convince me that the phone is worth that price. But I don't think any amount of convincing, for as long as you do, would ever... Even if I wanted the iPhone 10 very badly, that stands in my way. I have the money, but there's no reason to pay that much for a phone. You know? If it comes down to cell phones in the future costing at least $1,000+ to in order to own, I'll buy previous models. I don't care. I'm not going to spend that much. I'm not going to spend that much. That's ridiculous to ask.
But I don't see how you can hate on a product because of the price, right? I don't hate Teslas because they cost that much. I can acknowledge that they are such better cars that they can cost that much without hating on the product itself.
Right.
And it's not to say that I would never buy a Tesla because of the price. Maybe one day I will. You know what I mean? I could say that with any car for that matter, right? Any brand new Chevy. You know what I mean?
Good point. But
so just because I can't afford it in my current state doesn't mean that anybody that buys it doesn't know what they're doing and is a sheep to whatever company
no,
is
and
manufacturing it.
that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm getting at is, like, there's a strict price for a video game. I mean, this is a piece of technology that means way too much, just in general. Cell phones just they just mean too much for people. And then you just know they're going to buy it for whatever price it comes out for. So, yeah.
But you don't. That goes back to the point. If Apple released a phone for $2,000, a hell of a lot less people would buy it.
Right. Ask yourself that in 20 years.
And that may be the case. Nobody could have seen buying a $1,000 phone 5-10 years ago. Barry, why did you buy the Razer phone for $650 when the Poco phone exists?
I mean, yeah, I could have, but
because you see a value in the more expensive phone.
There were things in there, yes, that to me made sense to spend that money.
And people are doing the same thing with the newer iPhones. People are doing the same thing with the newer Galaxies.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm barking up the wrong tree when it comes to this argument, and I am just wrong.
No, I mean, you're not. You're making decent points, but at the same time, we come back to agreeing that this is always subjective, and I think it's wrong to tell people that, hey, like, I don't want to say that this is what you're doing, because it's not. I think when people shame people for owning devices that cost so much and making fun of them for spending so much money on it, when it means something different to them, isn't the right way of doing it, considering it's subjective. You know what I mean?
Right.
People driving around $3,000 beater cars aren't or shouldn't be making fun of those driving around new 2018 models that they bought for you know what I mean? Even if it was the same exact year in the case of these phones, you can't have a Poco phone user blaming you for buying the Razer phone when they're going to sit there and say to you the Poco phone does the same exact thing. So why did you get that? Because to you, the Razer phone was a better option because of the speakers, because of the 120 hertz display, because of the powerful processor behind it. You know what I mean?
But what you're doing, and it's funny that this is even happening, is you're making me think about how much I spent on the Razer phone as compared to how much I actually care about the device. And it's funny because I don't care about the device that much.
But you still spent that much.
But I still spent that much money. And now that I think like that, why would I ever do that again? I don't think I'm ever going to spend more than what I
but
actually
it's not a bad
feel
thing.
is necessary.
Okay, you could say the same thing about your computer. You use your computer every fucking day, and you've put a lot of money into your computer.
Yes.
Do you know how insane it looks? And it doesn't look insane to me, right? Do you know how insane it looks that you could put close to $2,000 into your computer when everyday average ordinary people either have a game console or a lower end laptop? And this isn't me being a console peasant. Again, I play on PC. I don't even
Right.
have any of the current. It looks absolutely batshit insane, but you care about what you play. You care about how well the games look. You care about how well the games run. So you're willing to make that investment. Your gaming PC is essentially the latest iPhone or the latest Galaxy of the mobile world.
Yes, but I also think that I can explain and actually demonstrate better.
Yes,
why
and
my
I could too with my
computer-
iPhone. Because if you try explaining how good your computer works and how much better your computer works, and you're going into resolutions that you run at and the texture details and everything like that, to a console player that's playing on a TV that's maybe 8 feet away from them, what do they care?
Right.
And the difference is they don't, right? To you, it makes a difference. To them, it doesn't. And you shouldn't feel the need to justify your purchases to them. Because at the end of the day, it's you spending your own money.
By golly, you sold me. Yeah, no, you're right. No, yeah,
because you could say the same thing for graphics cards, especially during the crypto thing. I mean, crypto was a ridiculous period for us, right?
that ate
But
crap
how
away.
expensive are graphics cards going to get, for an example?
Right. No, yes, okay, and I'm glad you brought that up because the current gen graphics cards that the 20 series that have come out, they're asking too much. They're asking too much for what they offer, in my opinion. I'm not interested in those graphics cards.
And
right?
that's fine. But there are other people that are. And if they can justify it enough for their own purchase, then you can't really fault them for that.
Yeah, that's the subjective part of that entire thing.
Because let's say that you have somebody that needs an RX or an RTX, I almost said RX for AMD, that needs an RTX 2080 Ti, right? For whatever work they do or for whatever ridiculous setup that you're going to run.
Right.
Their setup may look ridiculous to you, just like your setup looks ridiculous to a lower end like laptop player, for example. But you can't fault them for that.
I started on a laptop with no graphics card.
Same.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. All right.
I think price is in Chris Perillo. For anybody that's been on YouTube for like the last 10 years, if you remember Chris Perillo, he got railed for making the argument that price was subjective back when the iPhone 4s were coming out, back when Macs were, getting called out on being expensive. It's a really tough argument to make, but personal preference is a thing. And people are going to value different brands and different operating systems and different components differently. It's tough. You can have objective benchmarks, but if you want to get into objective benchmarks, the A12 is dominating absolutely everything at the. So you get down to personal preference between Android versus iOS or the cameras or anything. Can't be numbers, you know what I mean? And it's not hard to see how we got here. And in some cases, like versus your Razer phone, you actually can see a difference. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough argument. We should probably get through this.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Not only that, they get locked in. Why? Well, you may have heard the term the Apple ecosystem. Apple makes it so convenient to be trapped within this system. Oh, I have an iPhone and I need a laptop. Well, if I buy a Mac, I can sync my documents and pictures between these products. Ooh, I've been thinking of getting a smartwatch, and since I already have an iPhone and a Mac, I may as well get the Apple Watch too. You start to realize that all your music is in iTunes, and though you may want to try a different phone someday, getting all that music is hard and sometimes impossible. Same with movies and documents. Apple makes it easy to fall into its ecosystem and excruciating to leave. And the people within don't even know it's even happened. They don't care that their computer costs as much as it does. If it doesn't cost that much, it's not a real computer anyway. I no joke had a friend who was upset with me when she got a text from me and my message wasn't blue, which meant that I no longer had an iPhone. It bothered her.
We talked about
that,
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this is normal. If you think it is, then you need to fix something, but it's crazy how deep this goes. You may have heard this before, but for a BBC documentary series, a neuroscientist ran an MRI test on an Apple fanatic. When images of Apple products were displayed, the part of the brain that triggered for them was the exact same part of the brain that triggers for religious people when they're shown images of a deity. At that point, it makes a lot of sense as to why Apple could make the crap they do and sell it for what they sell it for. Look, I don't hate Apple's products. I think their phones look great. I think their laptops and computers...
Do you want to pause it again?
I don't is the implication that Apple users look to Apple as like a cult or like a religion?
I think there's some of that. That's not why I used it. It was just information that I had access to. Like, I had seen it and was like, I'm making a video about Apple, I should put that in there. And I left it for
Okay.
like anyone to take it as they wanted to. I wasn't trying to imply anything with it, but that's really the implication that I got when I watched the video too. So I think it's just like, that's just that strong implication. So
Okay. Yeah, about that, I think that's true for anybody. I could do that with Nintendo, for God's sake. You know what I
Right,
mean? And like
yes.
it's not inherently a bad thing, and it's not going overboard that it would light up that part of my brain. And it's not to say that I think of Nintendo as some type of religion or deity.
Right.
I think your point before that on the ecosystem, I think it's more painful to leave the ecosystem. You're right. If you buy a whole bunch of apps on the App Store, it's hard to leave because then you have to buy them all over again on the Play Store, and that's the same thing. You have the same problem moving from Android to
music,
iOS.
yeah.
Right? Yes, same exact problem. That's why I tend to opt for third-party solutions like Google Drive or Spotify. You know what I mean? Things that aren't partisan, I guess, is the best analogy that you can make. I think what also makes it painful to leave Apple is the ecosystem. How do I want to put this? There's no good rival to Apple's ecosystem. Like at the moment, Apple's ecosystem as far as the watch, iPad, iPhones, and Macs works so flawlessly together that neither Microsoft or Google can really achieve that right. I think it's more painful leaving it because you don't have anything to go to than it is just trying to reinvest.
I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, you're right. If you want something good, and I've seen some really good stuff, you kind of have to invent it yourself, and that sucks. That sucks that you have to do that. You know, you got all these companies with the Amazon Alexas, you turn your lights on and off. If you know, all of that could be hooked to one device, or all your devices could be hooked to stuff like that.
But then those only work well. Those only work extremely well with other Amazon devices like the Kindle
Right,
Fire.
exactly.
And Amazon doesn't make a phone, right? So you're missing a base there.
Exactly.
Whereas if you hook it all up with HomeKit, you get every single thing. I mean, you have to spend a shit ton on the HomePod, which even I haven't done. But theoretically, it's there. What I mean more of is like OS, Android Watch OS, or I think it's just called Wear OS, is dead. They're trying to revive it right now with the latest update, but it's been dead in the water for a while. Even Fossil has kind of acknowledged that. Whereas the Apple Watch has been selling like crazy. Android tablets, up until the Pixel Slate, have been kind of dead. Everybody just went back to formatting their apps in the phone layout, and then, I mean, outside of the one that you reviewed, what's the latest Galaxy Tab out right now?
Yeah, they haven't made one in a while.
Even if they have, you haven't heard of it, right? But you still hear about the latest iPad Pro that comes out because it's the only market share that's really doing anything. Right? I mean, Apple's not doing well with the HomePod because Alexa and the Echo, Google Home is so much cheaper. But in terms of ecosystems, Apple's the only one that covers every single base. And I think that's why it's hard to switch. If I wanted to leave Apple and go to Android right now, I'd have no problem using Google Drive, and I'd have no problem using Hangouts with my friends that also use Hangouts. But then I'm leaving iMessage and all of the, you know, rich chat information behind until RCS comes out because it's not there yet. And if I want to text from my computer, I now can through Android Messages, but then I have to go download that app, etc. And then I can go do it on my tablet again if I log in through a web browser. They just haven't been copied enough yet. I really want Google and Microsoft to copy everything that Apple's done so far, so there's some competition there, but there's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, is there an ecosystem that I just don't know about that does that pretty well? Does Microsoft have something like that yet?
Google's trying. Google's working on it, but no. Like what you're saying, no, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I kind of... half of me likes that it doesn't exist, but too much of me knows that like the convenience would be way too important, you know? Like it's nice being able to buy a product and not have to think, oh man, I need to buy this this other product, if I want like, you know, this to work, I need to buy a Google product to make sure that this works with this. I like that that's not a thing, because I think in the future, if everyone can jump on board with this, all their devices are tethered, what stops them from only tethering their devices and not everyone else's, right? Why would Asus tether their devices to Acer? Why would they do that? You know? So it kind of puts you in this scary idea where it's like, well, now I have to just pick a company and stick with that company. And I like that I don't have to do that. I like that if I want headphones, I can go buy them from anywhere. I wish I
didn't have to do that. Yeah, and I could still do that. I wish, that's why I'm saying I wish somebody would copy it so that I didn't have to do that. One of the reasons that I'm kind of stuck using an iPhone right now, and I'll admit, they've got me by the balls, dude. Because I want to switch to something like the Pixel 3 if it fucking didn't have that hideous notch, for God's sake. If the Pixel Ultra was a real thing and it didn't have the bezel and everything like that, I would have probably given it a shot and I might have actually switched. But then I'm leaving behind iMessage. And then I'm leaving behind my Apple Watch. I'm leaving behind, you know, an iPad if I have one, all of my Mac integration and everything like that. That's what makes it tough, and Apple knows that. Now, if, for example, Google had a competitor to that, a watch that was worth a damn, a good messaging experience outside of getting somebody to go download with Hangouts app or anything like that, if they had something to compete with it, that might take the sting out of it a little bit, because then my friends are probably on whatever platform that is too, and I would be able to have that rich chat there, or I could have a watch that was actually useful, etc. You know what I mean? I want there to be that competitor, but there's just nothing there yet, and that sucks.
See, and that's the boat that I'm just not in. I don't like that my life is consumed with so much company, right? I don't like that. I want to be able to just go buy anything I want and it will work the way it's intended to. It doesn't need to Bluetooth to all my other devices. It can just work the way it's intended. And I like that because I get to experiment with any product. I don't have to worry about, I have a Google phone, gotta get a Google Watch. I have an Apple iPad.
Oh, I'm not saying, yeah.
No,
I understand
but
that.
I'm saying there's a flip side of the coin, and this is where I stand, you know?
But I can do that too.
You could do that too.
Right, and if I want something to fall back on, then I can just go to the first party manufacturer. Like I can get a Moto 360 right now. I used to use a Moto 360 with my iPhone, but I wasn't able to do shit with it. Right?
Why?
Like, I'm able to use any pair of Bluetooth headphones that I want, but I use AirPods because, in my opinion, they're the best experience. I can use any chat app that I want, including Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or anything like that. But most of the time I use iMessage. There's competition, but it doesn't integrate as well as the one that's made by the same manufacturer. And
Right.
I wish that Google would do that.
Right.
I wish that Hangouts was good enough to compete, or integrated enough by default to compete with WhatsApp or Messenger, that I wouldn't have to tell somebody to go download the platform that I was using.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I feel you.
All right. Okay, let's finish this up.
These look clean and sleek, but I hate Apple's money-hungry tactics. Its unwillingness to sell products for reasonable prices. Its blatant lies that it tells its consumers that it knows doesn't know any better. I can only hope that one day this bites them. I've said it before, and I'll say it for as long as they act this way, but I wish Apple would crash. I wish its consumers would stand up and say, no, this isn't okay anymore. We're not buying your stuff until you treat us better. Apple would get back up. They're not small, and maybe they make something we'd never seen before. Something new, something worth the price. Maybe, just maybe, Apple would finally think different.
You little shit. Ah, you little shit. For me, I think that was AirPods. That's just like, everybody claims that, like, oh, they haven't made it in Steve Jobs past. For me, that was AirPods. I'm kind of curious what you would want, what they could do as far as, like, I want to, what did you say at the end? Hold on.
Apple would finally think
Oh,
different.
besides that, hold on.
Up and say, no, this isn't okay anymore. We're not buying your stuff until you treat us better. Apple
So what does treating better look like? What could they do that would treat their consumers better?
Right. According with the information and then the new stuff that we've talked about too, I want to take all that into consideration, so I'm not just repeating myself from the video. But the things that I'm talking about is Um, One thing that I thought about was collaboration with other technology like AMD, Intel, NVIDIA. They kind of do that. NVIDIA is kind of crappy when it comes to that kind of stuff, but AMD definitely, if you look them up, I really like the way they handle collaborations with other technologies to, like we've learned a new thing. Here's yours.
They did. So when High Sierra came out, they really, sorry if I'm interrupting, but when High Sierra came out, this was only like maybe less than 2 years ago. They had a dev kit for eGPUs, and it included an RX Vega.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Or it was either, I think it was either an RX 580 for what was out at the time.
Wait.
AMD was the only thing that worked really well on it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I kind of think that they're already starting to do that collaborating thing.
Right. Okay. And that's very good. The prices still, I mean, those things, that's always just going to bother me. Like, that's just a me thing. A lot of the things that I was talking about in here, a lot of it is just because I have a preference towards another platform, right?
Yeah.
And I see what that platform does, and I really like it. And Apple, I like their products, but it's that, and I know you liked it. You laughed at me, but the way they brand their stuff, the way they market and brand, the way that their technology works, it makes me feel like I'm being like my hand is being held. I just don't like that. There's so many things that I'm just not allowed to do because I'm on an iPhone.
Sure.
And I wish that they would, for that price, let me do everything that I can do on my Android phone.
Yeah.
I think
there's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I think that's where I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think there's a reason that they do that, though. We kind of talked about this last stream where, like, how do I want to word this? Apple is appealing to everyone, right? Mm-hmm. There is no iPhone Pro. There is now an iPad Pro, actually. There are MacBook Pros, right? So for those markets, when they're appealing to pro customers, those are the devices that do that. When it comes to the iPhone, they're trying to appeal to everybody. This is why I think that they haven't labeled it Pro. You have to have a device that works for you and I the same way that it can work for our parents, right? Mm-hmm. So if that means having this walled garden experience where everything runs pretty well and not a lot can go wrong, this is why they make their phones that way. Because imagine trying to teach somebody how to use a Razr phone fluently or the Poco phone fluently and what they could and couldn't do, right? Especially when the Play Store is filled with these apps that can quite literally take over your device. It's simply just not possible on iOS because of the limitations that they put there.
Sucks so much that like there are people out there that do that, and there's nothing Google does about that. Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah, and the only thing that Google could do is put in limitations, the same ones that Apple does in terms of what you can and can't modify on your device. And I think that's why Android still has a great user base, because the people that do want to do that have Androids. And I am and used to be one of those. Like, I still like customizing, and that's why I jailbreak. Mm-hmm. I think that I think they're appealing to the broader audience. It's not you and me. And by having that lockdown kind of mentality, they're able to prevent a lot of the stuff that general users have to go through or may have to go through on an Android.
Yeah.
But outside of that, is there anything else that they could improve?
That other thing that Linus had to deal with was kind of annoying. And have you ever heard of that channel, that guy that was an Apple technician for a while? He was a technician for, I guess...
Louis Rossmann?
Yeah. And he complains about having to put their parts, however they build their stuff is... Actually, no, that's not where I wanted to go with that. But did we talk about that Linus thing? I feel like I talked about...
We talked about a little bit about it, but we can talk more about it, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah.
What did you think about that?
That bothered me, that was even possible, right? Apple came out with a product that they didn't have any technicians for, and Linus couldn't get his thing fixed. And if they tried to fix it themselves, there would be no warranty. Well, obviously, right? That's how things work. But that just really, that sucks. You know, you should have, if you have a product out, you should have people who know what they're doing when it comes to fixing it. People are going to break their stuff, you know? If you bought a new monitor or a webcam or a phone and it broke and you sent it in and they're like, yeah, there's nothing we can do about this. You're just going to have to hold on to it until we can train our technicians. What would you think about that?
That's, I mean, I kind of agree with Linus on that whole situation. I think if I had to play devil's advocate and kind of argue as to why Apple didn't do that,
I'd love to hear it.
There could be, and understand, I don't necessarily agree with this, but I can probably think up a few reasons of why they did that. One is the product was extremely new. They broke it during a review process, which means, you know, it meant that the product was only out for a few weeks, right? And getting this training out to all of your technicians takes time, and that training doesn't always come out before the product does, right? For privacy, or not privacy, but for, you know, hush hush kind of reasons. You know what I mean? They don't want to leak the actual components that are in there yet, so it takes a while to get everybody trained in on it.
Right.
On top of that, during a product launch, if I broke my iPhone XS, you know, within the first week of the iPhone XS being out, they probably wouldn't even have any screens in stock. I would probably be waiting either a long time, or they would tell me to either buy another one, or if I had Apple Care, they would give me another one. And I think that's a lot. It's a very limited device in terms of the market that it's being sold to. I don't know. It's tough.
I can see a lot of that, like, being fair. It's fair, you know.
Again, those are just potential. I was listing off a whole bunch of things of what it could be. Again, I don't work for Apple corporate. Like, I don't know exactly why, but that's my best educated guess. Is either the stock wasn't there, the people were legitimately not trained because of how new the product was, or the cost of the screen was, because of the way it was manufactured, was just as much that it might be considered totaled. Could be possible. You never know.
I just remember that. You remember that time when video games were coming out, AAA video games mostly were coming out, and they were just broken, like, day one. Like, they just didn't work for a lot of people day one. There was like a year of that.
Yep.
And you just kind of had to sit there and wait and deal with it. That's just kind of what it felt like to me. It just, nobody liked that. Everyone complained about that. It was just annoying, and not on Apple's thing, just in the video games spectrum in general. But it was just the same thing to me, and that bugged me. But I mean, yeah, there could have been an excuse for it. That's fine. When it comes to the last sentence that I said, or not the last, but one of them. And I said it in the original video too, and we laughed at it. I want Apple to crash. I don't. Not anymore. I don't care enough. But more importantly, there's nothing that they're doing wrong. Just a lot of things that I don't agree with, mostly because what I found out was personal preference. You know, things that I'm into that they don't offer, or things that I don't like that they offer. And I can understand, all I got to do is just be on the other side. You know, if someone comes to me and says, well, this thing you hate, it's useful to me, and I use it this way, fine. That is totally fine. And I'm glad you like your product, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I think you could have done better. I think that if I were you and I had that money, for my use case scenario, I could have bought a better device and still had some cash to spare. But I'm not you. I think is what you're probably along the lines of, you know what I mean? Yeah. And people that buy the Poco phone can say the same about you.
They could.
In the same way that you could say the same about me for buying an iPhone XS.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the top of flagships right now is a XS, so I can't really say it about anybody unless you're getting one of those 20-carat fucking gold phones, you know what I mean? I could say the same exact thing for people, actually, that buy the 512 gigabyte version of the XS Max. The fuck are you doing? What are you doing? In my mind, that doesn't make any sense. But for the people that bought it, like, I can't justify buying the 512. I think it's too expensive. I think that you're never going to use the 512. But then again, when I say you, I'm in reality thinking about myself. Because the person that I might have just been talking about right there might work for a production company where they need every single bit of that space. And who am I to tell them how to use their device and spend their money?
Yeah. Exactly.
To me, it is way too much. It is overkill. And I say that as somebody that has the same exact device as them, just with half the storage. But I could not justify spending that much. But they probably could. I mean, I drive a car that doesn't compare, or that compares enough in my mind to, you know, luxury vehicles that have all these useless features that I don't need that cost twice MSRP what my car costs. But to them, they see it differently. And you know what? The company is not at fault because there's consumers that are willing to buy it. I think of consumers like titty streamers sometimes. You know what I mean? Just lighten the conversation a little bit. Let's say that Apple's a titty streamer, or let's say that Cadillac is a titty streamer. Are you really going to blame the titty streamer for making their money as much as you think they're a stupid idea?
Honestly?
Or are you going to blame the people that are viewing it instead?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, honestly, you cannot, because like I thought about, there are those people who they go to self-help conventions, right? And they get up on stage and they talk about how you can make your life more fulfilling and make your life better. Give me $15,000 and I will publish you a book. That's what they say, right? You just got to write the book. I'll publish it for you. $15,000. You look up on the internet how much it costs to publish a book. It's $300. You don't need to spend $15,000. These people just rip you off. But whose fault is it? Is it that guy? You giving him your money, right? You willfully did that. And I'm not saying that Apple's a sham or anything, a scammy company.
Yeah, no, not at all.
There wasn't an analogy there or anything.
No, not at all.
Sleep asked a question in chat, and I wanted to read it off. He said, so not being able to repair your own device is an opinion thing. And I wanted to address that a little bit because I get what you're saying. If something breaks and you try to fix it, now you're out of warranty. That is kind of dumb. But that's just how it works in all industries. I remember working at Falcon. We would, don't tell anybody, but we would take certain components apart that if you took them apart would devalue the warranty. It's just over at that point.
It would void it, yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, it sucks, but that's how companies are, because if you break something, it's not their fault. You screwed it, not me. You pay for it. And I can understand that. If I was selling products...
And it sucks because as the company, you can't tell if them getting in there broke it or if it was already broken, they tried fixing it.
Exactly. If I was selling a cell phone or a graphics card or a watch or something like that, and people went into them and broke them and then sent them back to me for a new one, I'd be like, screw you. Come on. You did that. Yeah. You know? I'm not fixing your mistake. So I can understand that to a point. But yeah, that was my videos, man.
Yeah.
What did you think of those videos, man?
I've been telling you for the past 2 hours. No, and I think I think you've changed. Right?
Yes.
I mean, I definitely changed like 3 years ago. Because I used to be, I mean, when I had my first YouTube channel, the only fucking thing that it said in the description box, not the only thing, but one of the biggest things in all caps, said, I hate Apple, like I hate Mac, I love Windows, that's all. Something really, really similar to that. And I think what happened was I used to watch videos of Apple Soldier, if anybody's been around long enough to like remember that. And I used to ridicule him. I'm like, what the fuck is this dude using a Mac for? And people would go back and forth with him and make reply videos back when that was a thing and say like, look, this is what this could have gotten you on a PC. And for years I did that. And then I started to realize there are different standards out there and that pricing is subjective and that these features and the way that they're packaged, including the cases that they're in, mean a lot of different things to different people. I don't know. It's just it's tough, and I think you've changed since we've been having these conversations between this stream and the other one, because at the beginning of the other stream I think you kind of stood behind both of these videos, but I think now you've kind of changed a lot on that. I was about to say a little, but I think you've changed a lot.
I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, my point of view when it came to Apple products came from a lot of people in my life, my girlfriend who I wasn't very fond of, and then when I had my iPhone and I didn't have a great experience with the iPhone. I don't think I'll ever go back to Apple, but I can also I definitely see your point of view, and I don't think I hate them as much as I did before, and maybe that hate will go away. I've done a lot of research on Apple. I've done a lot of research on the positives, the negatives, and typically when I found positives, it was all from a lot of fanboy points of view, and I may need to go somewhere else and not find that kind of stuff. Articles, forums, stuff like that. There was something else in the chat, though, that someone said, Apple punishes third-party repair shops even though Apple's repairs take long and they're overpriced. I don't think I'd care if I was a company, but I'm not Apple, so I don't know what to say.
Wait, what did it say? I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
They're punishing third-party repair shops even though theirs takes a long time and are vastly overpriced. That's what this guy...
Yeah, if you ask me, I think Apple authorized services are going to go away. I don't agree with that. I think they should be able to stay around. But I think Apple has gotten so tired and the products have gotten so much more delicate that, and it's not to devalue the work of any Apple authorized technician or anything like that. They're authorized for a reason. They know how to operate on these things. But I think they want to keep the control even closer, which I may not necessarily agree with, but I see that going away. And that sucks. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to seem like I love everything that Apple does, because I don't. I know it's hard to see that. I know you're doubting me saying that, and it's probably sounding like a cop-out.
No. Just when it comes to Apple, like I was saying, and I was getting to something too, it's like I was saying, I don't hate them as much as I did before, but I know I'm not an Apple guy, and I don't see that changing. I'm not, because I just don't see, and this is the biggest thing for me, I don't want to fall into an ecosystem. I don't like them. Even if, and like we were saying before, if Google had one, you want one to compete, Microsoft have one, I just don't care. I like not having an ecosystem. I like being able to buy a product and it does what that product's supposed to do, and I don't need to tether it to other devices.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. Enjoy that while you can, because that's going away.
I know.
Think of these smart home devices, right? Yeah. You have to look at the box and make sure that it has a logo that says works with Alexa or works with Google Home, right?
And this is going away. And I'm gonna be. I know it's one of those things where if I don't jump on board, I'm gonna be left behind. Because that's where everything's going, right? One day I'm going to buy an electric toothbrush and it's going to have Bluetooth for whatever goddamn reason, and I'm going to have to use it, you know? I'm going to have to go into my phone and click the power button on my watch.
So to pick your brain with that, what's the difference between that and getting a like a keyboard, for example, that says that it works with Windows?
Well, what do you mean? Like,
do you think that's compatibility versus an ecosystem, or
I mean,
you're talking about being locked down to just that?
Okay, you're right. But the thing is, like, if I bought a Corsair keyboard, it doesn't mean I have to buy a Corsair mouse, power supply, and monitor as well, right? I can buy a Corsair keyboard.
But let's talk about Razer doing that, right? If you have a Corsair keyboard, a Razer mouse, and Sennheiser headphones, you have 3 different driver suites with their own applications all running at the same exact time, right? If all 3 of those items were Razer, you're using Synapse for all of them. And that single program alone can control all 3 of your devices. All of the RGB lighting that I know you love, right?
Yeah.
Because I love it too.
No, right.
So you can have that one program versus 3 different ones for 3 different brands.
Right.
So, like, you can do that without being limited, but it just happens to be that if you match the brand of all of those components together, you have a little bit better experience. And in some cases, like with Razer, you actually get to sync those settings across all 3 devices.
So, and that's where I would disagree with only the point that it makes things easier. I guess I can't, because, yeah, it probably would make things easier. And I probably should jump on that. But the thing is, I don't want a Razer mouse. I might want a Razer keyboard, but I don't want a Razer mouse. I think my Razer mice are ugly. I want a Rock Hat mouse. I want, I want the thing that the Rock Hat offers. That's what I have, and I really like it, right? I don't want a Razer headset. I like my HyperX Cloud 2s.
Yeah,
right?
I'm right there with you. I use Sennheiser headphones, Logitech mouse, and a Razer keyboard. Like, I'm not doing this.
Right.
But I understand the people that do.
Yes. Okay. So then we were saying the same thing then. Yes. That's what I'm saying. I don't like it because then what ends up happening is I restrict a brand for myself. I have a Razer
Right.
keyboard. I need a Razer mouse. I don't want to think like that. I don't want to ever think like that. I want to buy the thing I like to buy. That thing that I saw on the internet that looked cool, that's the thing I want. I don't care that it synergizes and hooks up with other brands of the same or other the same thing, whatever. However,
Right.
I'm a liar a little bit because I did do that with my computer. I have an Asus motherboard, and I specifically looked for an Asus Aura compatible liquid cooler. So I did do
They got
that.
you by the balls.
They
didn't
got
they?
me.
Yeah.
They did. They absolutely did.
It
But
fucking sucks.
it does. It sucks a lot.
Also, Devin, we're not going to go over that because that was purposely a bullshit defensive Apple repair because I don't necessarily agree with it. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Got
yeah.
him, said Asus.
Got him. Yeah. No, and that's what they did. They totally got me. But
It's tempting. It's really tempting.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
There is such a thing as brand loyalty. I mean, part of the reason why you got the Razer phone isn't just for the specs. I'm sure you like Razer as a company.
I
and you
hated
trust
Razer. I hated them before I got the phone.
But now you trust them.
I did not want to touch. Actually, yes, I do. But it wasn't because of the phone. It was because my phone started bending, and I sent it into them, and they sent me a brand new one. And this one is totally fine. They actually said that there's no reason that the phone should have bent. They haven't heard of any other cases. And when I looked online, not a lot of other people were having the same problem. So it was just like mine was manufactured off. But the fact that they did that for me was really cool. And I liked that. But
And would that influence you to get any other Razer product in the future?
it could, but I look at things at a case by case basis. So if the new Razer keyboard came out and it had everything I wanted, then sure. But if it was just a Razer keyboard, then absolutely not. There's no reason.
Okay.
You know,
That's fair.
I just look into the thing that I want.
Yeah.
You know,
I think brand loyalty is becoming like a really, really normalized thing.
it is.
And I think it's leading to, in some specific cases, people buying products that are inferior because they see the logo on it. But I think that's very, very rare. I think people like the experience better than they like the products. And it's not necessarily something that you and I can judge. There are some people that use Razer Krakens that I don't know why the fuck they like them outside of the green color, right? Where I think the HyperX Clouds or any other headphones with a mod mic is a lot better. You know what I mean? It's a tough one. There's some cases where it's justified because I believe that the specs are what's driving the sale. And there's some cases where I think the brand is driving the sale and I disagree with it. Mm-hmm. Like, I think the same way about Samsung like you do about, or at least used to, about Apple. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't like Samsung.
Yeah, I don't either. I used to. I had a Galaxy S6, S7, a whole bunch of phones for them, and I liked them. I liked the phones. I just don't like what they're doing now. I don't think they're doing anything exciting now. Mm-hmm. Don't get me started on that fucking pen again.
I like that little pen. I think that pen's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you where you can put that pen.
Were there any other points that you were wanting to make that you didn't get a chance to, or?
I want everybody to realize that Barry and I fucking love each other. Like, we can have these conversations where we disagree and we can still be friends. Absolutely. Shocker, I know, right? Yeah. Like, we can heavily disagree on fundamental issues, and yet we can still be friends over this, right? This shouldn't be such a divisive thing. You shouldn't hate somebody because their opinions are different than yours. You know what I mean?
Absolutely not.
It's tough. I hate this thing where if you like Apple, you're called an Apple sheep, or if you like Android, you're called, I don't know, an Android sheep or whatever, man. Like, it's tough. People enjoy the brands they enjoy, and I think subjectively they will find things about it that they like that the other one doesn't have, and I don't think that we should ridicule them or that's the word I'm looking for. Like, you just can't judge them. I mean, you may spend your money differently, but then spend your money differently, and if your reasons are good enough, then the market will agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've come to very much agree with that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, consumers aren't stupid, right? Consumers do understand what they're getting into, especially for high ticket items like iPhones or Macs or in a lot of cases cars. You know what I mean? There's a reason that they're buying them. They're not sheep in a lot of cases. I don't think people that buy the Razer phone are sheep. They did a lot of research on them. They understood that it was a phone that they wanted. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. And there was something you were saying. I was gonna say something. I just lost it. Wow, that's annoying. I was like right on that
brand
point.
loyalty.
No. Oh man, I don't remember what it was. But I remember it was like on that point. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. So there were a lot of people in the chat who were saying, God, Barry's dominating this. Wow, Dev is killing it here. Barry's losing, Dev is losing, whatever. But the thing is, like, if you've learned anything from my channel, open-mindedness. You know, like, go and look for the other side and what they're saying. You know, I kind of regret not doing that with Apple as much as I did. I mean, I looked up stuff. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't going in blind, but this guy here, he knew stuff that I didn't know, and a
lot of people try to focus on finding channels that are unbiased, and I'm going to tell you right now, there are none. I don't care who you name a tech YouTuber in the chat right now. I will tell you which way they are biased, and it's based off of what they use. I would rather listen to somebody that admits their bias, like Talos of Tech with Apple, or what's his name? Armando Ferrer or something like that with Android. I would rather listen to somebody that is inherently biased about which side that they're on, and then use the points that they make against my own opinion and the people that I listen to, and go back and forth between them and make my own decision, rather than trusting somebody who's saying they're unbiased, but in reality, we know that they're not. Think of something that you could say that you're unbiased on. Now think again, and you're probably not so unbiased because you're probably leaning one way. And the people that are telling you that they're unbiased also do the same exact thing. So listen to the ones that are biased and formulate your own opinion from that. There is nobody that is unbiased. I'm sorry. There's really not, because at the end of the day, if you're looking at objective facts, like objective statistics or something like that, you're going to come to the conclusion that one is better, and that is going to stick in your head. And it might stick in your head long enough that you start, doubting the other options out there. It happens to everybody, especially if you use some of the products that you review. So I would encourage you to go out and find people that are Apple fanboys, find people that are diehard Android fans, and listen to them instead, and then come back and see if your opinions change, because you might be surprised. It's honestly what I started doing. It's crazy.
I do got to say real quick, Dwight Schrute is he donated and wanted me to say happy birthday to his sister. So happy birthday, Audrey.
Aw, happy birthday, Audrey.
Yeah, I hope you have a great 16 or however old you are now.
Aw.
He didn't give an age. I just kind of threw one out there.
Happy 62-year-old
Happy 72. Yeah. Oh man. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Master Griefs. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were going to close. Sorry, you can close
it's all good. Oh, she's 9. Okay. Happy 9th. So.
Happy 9th.
Thank you guys so much. Were you going to say something just now, or?
Not without getting myself into a lot of trouble.
Oh, okay. Well, then, we'll do that later. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Dev, again, for coming on. I always enjoy you being here, because it means...
Yeah, anytime.
It means I don't have to work on a video. I can just sit here and talk to you, and it's great. So, it makes it easy.
I kind of want to add something in, and you can tell me if you don't want them to do this.
Sure.
Now that we're done with the Apple stuff,
yeah.
If there are videos that you guys wanted us to do this style again with, can they post it to your subreddit, and then maybe the highest voted ones we can do this again?
Yeah, if you want to put it in my subreddit, or if you want to, if you message me on Discord with a link, I'll just save it. I have a list somewhere I can actually put those. So if you guys want us to do this, if you want this to be a regular thing, I'm actually going to be starting another series with Trevin pretty soon too. That's going to be really fun. And Dev,
I see how it is.
You can be a special guest anytime you want. The series is, we're going to be reviewing movies in real time, and then we're going to like snip the clips and stuff together. It'll be a ton of fun.
Okay.
So anyway, thank you guys so much. I've said that a million times now, but I can't say it enough. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Have a good night, guys.
Bye.